Hollywood Matt Connolly with the double biceps. It is in the contract, a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. Make sure those biceps in. Got to keep the lawyers happy. Tick the checkbox. Tick the checkbox. We've got to make sure that that does happen, and that is happening. We have seen two biceps. The man to my left, but to your right, it is in fact the co-founder, the co-pilot, the co-breather of air, the co-wearer of clothes in this very room. It is, in fact, the king of sting, the master of disaster, the count of Monte Cristo. It is Thunderlips, the ultimate male. It is, in fact, the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year award. And there it is there. We didn't drop it. The illustrious award held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. It is, in fact, your friend and mine. It is Dave Stockbridge. Stockbridge, welcome to the AWE podcast.
Thank you very much, Hollywood Matt Connolly. And as always, a very, very warm welcome here in the AWE studios. And what a week it has been. Massive. In the world of arm wrestling. So much to talk about, so much to get through. Big episode coming your way. Oh, that sounds a little bit better now. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's been much controversy when we started this little enterprise of AWE. We never thought we'd be at the epicenter of a shitstorm in arm wrestling, or maybe even that thing that kicked it all off. Back in the early days of AWE2, we could have never imagined that our champion, our intercontinental champion, would be poached by the competition very, very shortly thereafter the event and lured away with offers of mountains of cash and security and all of those wonderful things that athletes seek.
Back rubs? Any back rubs involved?
I don't know. Nobody's seen the contracts, but I would like to think there was some form of massage, and if not actually written into the contract, implied. Just implied.
Shiatsu, maybe?
As the lawyers are talking, there's just the gesturing, and you get
as you're signing, as you're writing the thing. As soon as you finish writing your name, it's a punch to the back of the head. Who would have thought? Just a few short weeks ago that the whole world of arm wrestling would be turned on its head, and the days of the free agent, the golden years of arm wrestling, I've heard some say, may be drawing to an end. That's right.
As perhaps the musical chairs of arm wrestling begins. And very interesting late developments overnight. It seems the information has come out that Monster Factory, good. Monster Factory, good.
Gets the green tick.
He's got the tick. Arm Wars,
green tick.
Good. These are the promotions that have been. But the doors have been open to. The exclusivity doesn't pertain to. And of course, King of the Table and East versus West. So at this stage, that's the umbrella. Although there might be others, there might still be others. So these may be exclusive agreements with the exception of everybody but AWE.
Everyone except for us.
So very, very interesting times. We want to thank our athletes first and foremost for being so wonderfully supportive during this time. And we certainly want to thank the arm wrestling community. We do read the comments. We try to get a sense as whether or not we're as delusional as Ryan Bowen, for instance. And it's been heartening to read through the comments and to see what you guys have been saying on the subject. We want to thank you for your support. And for sticking by us during what's been a very, very interesting week or so.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting. Lots of things happening, lots of moves being made. From our perspective, or from my perspective, it feels very much like we're 9 months into this promotion that we've started, and then it's like all of a sudden we're being seen as a potential threat to the number one organization. And it's like, oh, okay, well, we must be doing something right if the competition's like, we need to lock our athletes down now. These guys are doing really well.
He's the champion. We want him.
Whoever they got, sign them up. Get on the phone. Get as many phones as you can. Ring everyone. Offer them money. No, I don't have the money, but just offer it anyway.
And of course, things are now coming out of the woodwork, and athletes are speaking a little more freely, and we're starting to get word that there's been some discouragement, unofficial discouragement before these contracts have come out. So unofficial discouragement to suggest that maybe AWE isn't the best place to have a matchup if you want to see your career prosper in other promotions.
Right.
So all of this is all as they say, it all comes out in the wash. And so the last week or so, I think has been great for that. And again, thank you very much for all of your support over the last several weeks. I think we've found that over the last week or so, where our core base is, and who are those figures that are out there that are standing by us, and it's more people than we thought. So thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been great. I mean, the arm wrestling community is full of wonderful people. Every time I've gone anywhere and met anybody who's into arm wrestling, they've always been awesome. Every club that I've been to, every event that I've been to, everyone very friendly, very humble, very welcoming. And it feels like that as well with the community here, with and the support that we've received, especially even before all this contract stuff happened. I mean, people were very supportive, and we love the fact that people feel that way about AWE and what we're doing, because first and foremost, we are fans of arm wrestling. We arm wrestle ourselves, and
badly.
We're terrible. So we thought if we can't get really good, then we'll just start a promotion. Then we get to see all the good guys.
We can hang out with them.
We can hang out with them. It was one of my highlights of my life, having beers in the airport with Toddzilla. That was amazing.
Oh, there you go. It's a moment. And just as well, you had that moment, Hollywood.
That's right. I won't ever get that again.
This show will be huge.
Yes, says Swisher Sweet. Yes, we'll say hello to. There's a whole bunch of people in the chat at the moment.
Soft to you.
That's right. And if it feels like you're the only person in the stream, you're not. We are streaming on 5 different platforms. So I will bring up everyone's comments here.
You're just the only person on Facebook.
That's right. Phil Woody, of course, the legend Phil Woody has jumped in here every single time there's an arm wrestling stream. He must have multiple computers all just loaded on different streams at once. That's right.
In his room.
I think
it could actually be cracking codes or or mining Bitcoin with all of that computing power. But no, it's all just dedicated to keeping up to date with all of the streams.
That's right. Yes, and we thank you for that, Phil. Priorities. Swisher Sweet. This is perhaps the biggest off the table story in arm wrestling in 2023. Ooh. Yeah, well, absolutely. It is definitely big story, and we are right in the midst of it right now. And that was me saying we'll be live in 2 minutes. The Schmo says made, and I'm not going to read that out, but made for war. We've got. I love it when it brings up the description of an icon. I don't know what Jake Peter is, but yes, we'll say welcome to Devon's forearm, and hopefully the rest of him has arrived as well. The Schmo, don't know what that means, but let's keep moving. Swisher Sweet, chat, should Engen have formally apologized to Matt and Dave, the co-owners of AWE?
Well, I think probably this is what's going on. Engen's made a move, and maybe in some. So this is Dave's guesswork. So I'm not. This is not an official AWE statement. This is
official AWE statement.
So my feelings, and I could be completely wrong. So let's preface it all with that. Is that after watching AWE 2, it might have surprised some in terms of how well that event went, how nicely things seemed to run, and how beautiful it looked on the screen. How good the commentary was.
How good the ring announcer was.
Pretty special. So a few of those things. I'll tell you one thing I didn't do, and that was read the athletes' names from an iPhone. So I think in some part what's happened is that event spurred on some plans that may have already been laid. So I feel like this might have been something that was burbling along in the back of certain key figures' minds, and then seeing the event, thought, you know what, got to get out there in front of it. Let's move forward. Let's break the glass. We're onto the big plan. So the sirens have gone, at the headquarters, and they've enacted the plan, and that's go out and start stitching up the talent to ensure that they've got that available to them when they want it. And maybe not just safeguarding themselves against an emerging a smaller promotion, perhaps, but maybe this is protecting their flank against WAL coming back, somebody else with deeper pockets coming back, and of course, you know what a tremendous head start it'd be if you could just grab those. If you had a few $1 million at your disposal and you could just grab those top 15 or so athletes and start your own league. So, you know, I feel like these may have been things that have been discussed. Now, probably where I take exception is in terms of how that information has been presented from the other side of this discussion, and that is, I'm doing this for the best of the sport. And if you disagree, you're against the best interest of the sport. My interests are the best. This is essentially the talk of cult figures. This is what happens when people become dictators. This is essentially what people start to do, and what Adolf Hitler thought was what Germany thought, and you know, he knew the best interest of the country. You know,
I'm all for freedom of speech, but anyone who's opposed to freedom of speech will be crushed under the heel of my boot.
They're free. They're free to think exactly like me. And if they don't, they're an enemy. And if you're an enemy of me, you're an enemy of Germany. Now it was the same with China. So the way that it's dressed up. I like Grant Diet's commentary on this, and Pradeep's thoughts with respect to, if you just come out and say, I want to make East versus West the dominant promotion, and that's going to mean we're going to have to crush a few in order to get there, and we're going to lock up all the great talent, and this is going to be the best business move of all time. But don't in one sentence say, oh, I put in all my own money, I barely make a cent, these events lose money, but I'm going to throw millions of dollars at the sport.
Yeah, where did those millions of dollars come from?
I don't know.
Would you
apparently not successful events.
No.
And so I guess if your whole business model is predicated on running pay-per-view events, and the only attraction to those pay-per-view events isn't the production quality, it's not the storyline, it's not the marketing, it's not the build-up, it's not the hype. What it is are the names. So in other words, your whole success is dependent on the names and image of other athletes. That's essentially what you're doing, is just providing a stage. Now, if that's all that you've got to tie up the talent. Otherwise, you don't have a business anymore. As soon as somebody does the marketing better, as soon as somebody does the production better, you don't have a business. But let's refer back to the chat, because I'm sure we've got a few experts in there that have opinions that I'll share.
But would you accept a formal apology from Engel?
I don't know if he's got anything to apologise about. Honestly, like if this is a business move, it's a business move. But and he's not personally been personal with me or you, as far as
no, I've never spoken to him.
No, he doesn't know I
I don't really know him.
So he's got no idea that we even exist. So there's no need to apologise, Angan. Whether or not there's maybe a sorry word or two to share with Ryan Bluebone, I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, we'll move back through the comments here. Mr. Couchapple. Oh, he's added a Mister to this now. He's upgraded himself. Yeah, a bit of
that too, sir.
That's right. Mr. Couchapple says, greetings all. Let's have a healthy debate. This is the Great Dane, Mr. Couchapple, not just Couchapple. He's upgraded. He's identified his gender, I believe.
Yes.
Levan Sagashavilli's liver says, let's go. I love all the troll names. So good.
Could Levan's liver be a potential 70-kilo champion?
It could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it probably weighs that much. I should have thought of that before I said it. Swisher Sweet says, like they are just two guys trying to start a promotion in Australia, and they put their own money up, and you stripped them of their champion. An apology at the very least was warranted.
I'll let you take it up with him. But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit. Now you mentioned, I am getting some hard feelings about this.
You're getting angrier by the second. I can see it. Yeah. What have you started, Swish or Sweet?
Swish or Sweet. I was fine with it, reconciled with it, and now you're scratching the scab, aren't you?
That's it. Michael Workspace says, what time is it over there? It's 1 a.m. Here it is 3:45 p.m. in the afternoon on Thursday.
Yep. Calibrate your watch.
That's right.
Yep.
And synchronize now.
Now.
Mr. Couch Apple says, just imagine in every athlete contract is going to read, I can pull anyone I want, where I want, when I want, something like that. The world will be a better place. Well, that's sort of what we've got right now. I don't see why you need to change that. Imagine what we've got already.
The contracts.
Phil Woody says, gents, how do you think we could get AWE to become the recognized feeder promotion to East versus West from the Oceania region?
Phil, our egos won't permit it. So this is the problem. We want to run the best promotion the world has ever seen, and that's the problem.
We're not going to be a feeder organization, mate. If you're aiming to be number 2, you're aiming way too low.
You're aiming to be the number 1 loser.
Yeah.
So,
well, this one I believe is for you here.
Sweetie Piners, I'm just watching.
There you go. Helen Stockbridge, Mum and I are watching you. 2 hearts as well. Lucky you.
Have a look at this, sweetie. We've got some of this special blackcurrant stuff with the pretty purple label. We got that from our former Latvian, former European, former Australian, and now current AWE heavyweight champion Gunter Barkov. So it's a little Latvian drinky just dropped off. It tastes like a strongly alcoholic Ribena.
Yes,
that's but apparently powerful. It's both used for fun times and medicinal purposes in Latvia, and sometimes that's the same time.
It is.
Apparently, it's used as a breakfast drink. You have it along with your coffee. Get your heart started.
It did this afternoon, that's for sure. Phil, would you get the thumbs up? If you could hit the thumbs up, that would help all of us across the channel.
Thumbs up, subscribe, like it, do what you got to. Let's get it out in the algorithm.
And then untick everything.
Just go back later. We want to thank everybody. We've had our biggest week ever on social media. So in terms of our numbers, they've been going through the roof. No doubt the controversy has been helping us somewhat and drawing people's attention to AWE. So thanks, Engen, for that. That's been awesome.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. James Stewart says, how's it going? Well, how's it going to you too? We are doing very well, thank you.
How are you doing?
How's you doing? The Schmo has dropped in and he says, Philster is the man. He's talking about Phil Woody, the legend there.
Yeah.
And we've got Jason Reeves says, is AWE attempting to work with Engen regarding contracts, or is he not willing to allow you guys in on it all? We are not working with Engen.
So essentially what happened was that, so Ryan's touched on this in a couple of his response videos. And so what has happened is that during the process of finding out about all of this, which for us was a few weeks ago, when Todd made mention that he might not be able to defend his title, and the reasons behind that, and so we kept it under wraps, and we're not, and we're still not au fait with the terms or the conditions or anything like that, and we don't proclaim to be. But what had happened there was that when that became apparent, we did reach out to Engen and just ask if it might be possible that we have our champion back to defend his title, and it was, well, the response was that would not be permitted. So I don't even know if that came directly from Engen. It might have done. I don't know if that came back through back channel.
Yeah, I think
it would be. Yeah, so it wasn't a direct response to the outreach. And I guess if you've signed somebody up, that's your prerogative. And I guess if you've intended to sign, like you've targeted that specific athlete to, straight after an event, you've got some intention to ensure that athlete does not compete in that promotion. So I think we were perhaps a little naive in thinking, oh, okay, so Engen he's putting out the contracts, but there's nothing really malicious against us. Maybe this is, but of course, as the weeks have drawn on, we found increasingly that perhaps this is a bit more of a targeted attack, especially as now the other promotions. Now, is that Engen just protecting his flank there within the fraternity of arm wrestlers and that golden age of arm wrestler that's out there that's still very influential in the sport and on social media, and making sure there's not too much negative? Maybe that's what's going on, and making sure that Monster Michael Todd still got his thing going on. maybe you'll find a bit of a restructure, and you see that Monster Factory develops into maybe that US base. Who knows? Who knows what's going on there?
Yeah, that's right. But for anyone who's thinking that contracts are a good thing at this stage in the world of arm wrestling, immediately we were about to have Toddzilla versus Lachlan Adair at AWE 3. Can't do it. That has not happened, and that's the result of having a restrictive contract. Straight away, you miss
maybe
out
if
on
we
getting
had
to
the
see that.
restrictive contract, maybe we're just not out in front of it. And I guess from our perspective, we've launched a promotion in that era of the free agent, and kind of thought that that might last for a little bit longer, and so talent might be available to us that'll help sprinkle a little of their stardust.
I need to get you a jar for that.
Over us, and but that's it's becoming pretty evident, even with those athletes that are due to appear. There's obviously been some offers to those athletes. They're wonderful athletes, and one would expect that. It is creating an environment where attracting that caliber of athlete is going to be increasingly difficult for promotions, apart from Arm Wars and apart from Monster Factory.
Everyone except for
King of the
AWE.
Team. No, just for us. Just
for us. Which I sort of take as a compliment, because it's like, oh, okay, well, if you don't want to work with AWE, then there's a reason. And it wouldn't, you couldn't imagine that was just to spite Ryan Bowen, because you're not just spiting Ryan in doing that, you're spiting everyone in this entire region who is competing on AWE or who's looking to further their career or get big opportunities, because now, well, maybe they won't be able to. So if you've gone that route, and it's like, well, that does have a big knock-on effect, and you may not have realized that. So yes, but yeah, we are.
Well, that's probably not something you do if your heart's in the best interest of the sport.
no, that's right. Yeah. Who have we got
so
here?
We're not attempting to work with England. We've attempted to reach out, and we've been rebuffed. Say that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reconciliation to be had at this point over that.
No, that's right. That's right. Did I tell you with when the UFC was first starting up? Oh God, I need the tip jar.
You got to bring it in.
I didn't even think of it as I started saying the story.
Chuck it in there.
Got to put the money in.
There you go.
Every time I talk about the UFC, I've got to put money in the jar because I do it a lot. I know the inside, the organization inside out. But when they were first starting up, and WWE saw them as a potential threat, and so Vince McMahon, who's the owner of WWE, he rang up Mike Goldberg, who was the presenter and commentator, the day of the event, and said, I'll pay you 50 grand in your account right now, just a no-show. Just to not turn up tonight. Just don't turn up and don't answer your phone. And I'll give you 50 grand.
Wow.
Just that sort of tactics, to just wipe them out for the last minute. They've got the guy that's going to be presenting everything and then commentating the event, and then all of a sudden he's not there. And yeah, but obviously Mike didn't go through with
exclusive
it.
contracts. Maybe that's what he gets concerned about.
But they're the sort of things that people could do in those sort of positions when they've got power and they've got money, and they see, okay, hang on, what's going on over here? Don't like that.
They've got some snappy camera angles.
That's right. Yeah, and
some good lighting.
Counter programming as well.
We've had 9 events. I haven't been able to organise that yet.
That's right. Counter programming events. So if you make for AWE 3 is going to be on October 22nd. It will be the last man standing and the AWE tournament, and then the pay-per-view event for AWE 3 will be October 23rd, depending on where you are in the world. But October 23rd, if you are here in Australia, it'll be Sunday, October 23rd. But when you make those announcements and then say a rival organisation. Is it? Oh, that way then. But it doesn't matter. Well,
21st Saturday.
Is it? Oh, great. 21st and 22nd.
Yep.
So rival organisation might say, okay, well, that's their dates. Let's put a bigger event on the same day.
Let's do that.
So you split the audience, and then they get less revenue, and
Yeah. There's plenty of ways, and I guess we're starting to see some of those tricks come out. And I guess there has been this hope, and I've heard Aussie arm wrestler Jake Ward say this, and not just Reddybank.
Wasn't it? Oh, I thought that's
he
what it
says
was.
other things.
He
You watch.
says
And but in terms of I've completely lost my train.
Oh no, you went on the Jake Ward
I
thing.
know. I started thinking about Jake, and what else did Jake say?
What else does he say?
I couldn't think of any.
Oh,
What
that's
was
all right.
that other
We were talking
thing?
about counter programming events.
Oh yeah. And in terms of wanting it to be very fraternal and wanting to kind of keep things together, and right up until a couple of weeks ago, he was quite earnest in like, we shouldn't be dividing the sport. We should be doing what we can to keep everybody on the same page. Keep them all together. And I guess the events of recent weeks have kind of, I guess, determined that might not be the will of the most powerful people in the sport. If for us, it presents as a massive opportunity, because there very much is now an opportunity for athletes to make a determination as to, okay, well, I can actually assign a contract, but what are my alternatives out of that? So if I want to position myself so that, let's say WAL does come back, let's say there is a bigger promotion than AWE that develops, and somebody comes in and has got squillions of dollars, Rupert Murdoch decides to start an arm wrestling league.
I think he's into it. Yeah,
I've heard.
he's quite good.
Him and
Good
Lachlan.
top roll.
Yeah. So a strong wrist.
A lot of pen signing.
It's just highly developed in the wrist. So it's got a bit of a flick.
Yeah, a lot of pointing.
Yeah. So I mean, any of these are possibilities, and we see this. If ESPN run an arm wrestling event, for instance, then there's every chance that one's going to pop up on Fox. We do see this, and so some athletes might be saying, okay, well, I mean, that's an option, but is it my only option? And what's my options now? And what are the potential options into the future? And if you're an athlete who's maybe not 45 or 50 odd, and you're trying to plan out and chart a course forward for the next 20 or 30 years, you know how dramatically the sport's changed in the last 2 years. We've gone from WAL, we've gone to nothing. Then you've got the two bigger promotions kind of emerged out of the ashes of COVID, and now you've got all of these emerging promotions just popping up around the world. We don't know which one's going to take. We don't know which one's going to be the dominant force. Maybe it's none of those that are competing in that space right now. Maybe it's a bigger and better alternative that's just maybe it's going to be a Vince McMahon. Maybe it's going to be a Dana White, and who knows? But there could be somebody out there with bigger pockets, deeper pockets, I should say, and willing to put them on the right athletes. And if those athletes are all tied up in 3-year deals, getting 10 grand or whatever it is a pool, then, and I mean, it might be more, but it might be less. But
back rub,
yeah,
3 back rubs.
Yeah, I'll take a discount on the fee if
Depends who's giving it as well.
Yeah. So who knows? And so if you're an athlete now and you're in the twilight of your career, you might be in the autumn of your years, and it might be you might be thinking, okay, look, my career's finite now. There might be 2 years, 5 years, whatever. Safe space, good money. I don't even care if somebody comes along with $1 million. It doesn't bother me. I'm happy here. Great. But if you're a 25-year-old, 30-year-old, 35-year-old athlete who's got 20, 30, 40 years left in the sport, you want to be thinking a little bit more strategically than that, and ensuring that you're leaving yourself open to all of the very best of the possibilities. So AWE will very much be a platform for those athletes who don't want to put all their eggs in one basket at this stage, when there's so much unknown, and certainly a lot unknown about the future and what might come next.
Yeah.
So we know how much sport's grown in the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, and let's just say our feelings are is that growth is exponential, and you're going to see a lot more the sport become more commercially viable, and with that attention comes opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. If you tie yourself up into a multi-year deal, and then all of a sudden either that organization goes under or they can't put on events anymore, but you can't go and compete anywhere else, and then other organizations and other opportunities are popping up all over the place, and you're not allowed to go and compete in those, and you're like, there's 3 years of maybe your prime career, your prime years as an athlete, that you don't get to compete. And it's like you're sitting around literally not being able to compete at all. And depending on how restrictive the contracts are, maybe you can't pull in even your local tournaments. You can't do anything. It's like, so there's a lot of dangers in locking yourself in. And this is why I was saying, and this is what we did on the podcast with Ryan the other night, this time in the sport, I don't think it's right to be locking everyone down. And as we saw prior to when with WAL, and people were, that's exactly what happened with them. They stopped putting events on, and all these guys, like top level elite arm wrestlers. No, I'm not. No UFC one. It wasn't leading there. Some extra money in there, but yeah. So that's exactly what happened to them. So WAL stopped putting events on, but they were all still under contract, couldn't pull anywhere. And it's like they're just sitting around, and you can't do anything. You can't compete in your local tournament. You can't go to here. You can't go interstate. You can't go to another country. And all these other organizations started springing up. And guess what? None of these guys are available, and yet they can't compete. And so what happens? Their spaces get filled by other new people, and that's what will happen. Is if like the audience is very fickle, and you're only as good as your last performance. People only remember what happened at your last match. I heard people saying, "Oh, Dave Chaffee's all washed up." It's like, dude, he's lost like once or twice or something. It's like, what's his record like?
Pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. He's over. It's over. Forget it. It's all done. It's like he lost one match or something. It's crazy how quickly people will turn on you. But it's the same for organizations. It's the same for movies, with actors, with all sorts of things. People will remember you from what they saw of you last. And if whatever happened at the last event, or whatever happened where maybe you're out of the scene for 15 months because you're tied into a contract dispute, and then by the time you come back, the sport's moved way on. They've moved well past you so fast. I mean, as I said, with 9 months for AWE, we put 2 events on. We're in conversations with the biggest organizations that are around currently. And it's like, okay, well, that's how fast we've grown. And that's
we're not in conversations with them anymore. They don't want to talk to us, but we've sort of spoken about it in the same,
right.
Yeah, in the same breath.
Exactly right.
Yes.
And that's not even a single year. So if you tie up for 3 years or more, and it's like, oh, this might have been a mistake, and now you can't get out of it.
Yeah, interesting times. Very interesting observations there. Yeah. Also, like I said, we don't have any personal relationship with Ingen. He's got no reason to hate us specifically yet, but but the reality is that you do hear on the grapevine that he can be quite a volatile character, and if that is indeed the case, then what? If a character is volatile and you're not under contract with him, well, you can tell him to get bye-bye and walk away. Like you can
get bye-bye.
Accept goodbye. Bye-bye.
You're
being nice. You're being nice. We're being nice.
You were halfway through that word.
I can't remember which platform we're on, and who were potentially upsetting. So I think Facebook doesn't like the
yes,
those words.
Right.
So I pull back.
Yeah, discipline. It was very nice. And you went with bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So it's very easy to say goodbye. So you can say goodbye. I'm not coming back. That's it. But if you're signed up for 3 years, volatile characters seldom get like less volatile when they have more control. When they've got more control, that something happens. And it's and it's, maybe Ingen's not volatile at all, and maybe he is the exception if he is. So, but let's just have all of those thoughts in mind as we're discussing the subject matter. And I think, Hollywood Matt Connolly, we are also going to get onto one of our very, very big announcements, which is the full card.
Yes.
For
absolutely.
AWE 3, which we'll bring up after going through some of the comments.
That's right.
Let's see what you guys have got to say.
We've got so many comments to get.
Let's go. You catch up.
We'll rip through these quickly. We'll catch back up. Mr. Couch Apple, as we all know, Engen's contract allow crossover matches to King of the Table, Arm Wars, and Monster Factory, and just not AWE, which clearly suggests it is just a beef between him and Ryan, which is not good for the greater good. No. Well, that's one thing what we were just saying. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. In my honest opinion, whatever the reason for Engen to push iron grip on athletes to take away other promoter athlete freedom to compete when, where, and with who they want is negative in every retrospect. Thank you for that, Couch Apple. Not one small promotion, but many that are growing. Absolutely, there are. And Arm Gods, we give you a big shout out as well.
We love Arm Gods.
Taking eyes away from smaller to bigger promotions that may be the plan.
It's 100% the plan.
Swisher Fleet, if Engen is for the growth of the sport, then you and Engen are colleagues, not enemies. That's why an apology wouldn't be crazy, but you must see each other as competitors.
I do now. I mean, there's not much fraternal going on here. So,
I would say we could challenge him to an arm wrestle, but we are not good at arm wrestling.
We can settle this on the table.
Let's get Ryan to do it.
I think that it is good to get along with everybody. But of course, when in business and in competition, you can't always. You can still be friendly, but you don't have to be friends necessarily. And you still be ethical. You still have integrity. You can do all of those things. So, we mightn't. We might be on Engen's Christmas card list.
That's right. I don't think he knows who we are, but to be honest. Mr. Count Travel says Ryan seems to be balanced for standing up.
So Thunder Lips, man. What's this?
Let me research these people. Here's many things. His introduction go for 6 minutes.
He must be former world champ.
He's incredible. Don't mess with these guys. Look how many accolades he has. He has his own trophy.
He's on the Latvian juice.
That's right.
He must be elite. I have not heard of him.
That's right. Ryan seems to be balanced for standing up for what he believes in and speaking the truth despite what it could cost him. So at the very least, he is admirable for that. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Ryan will not be pushed over by anybody.
I'm really proud of how Ryan's handled this whole situation, by the way. I mean, it's been an enormous amount of pressure on Ryan, and from his end, he takes it on his back that, this is a bit of a personal beef, obviously, and that's potentially negatively affecting the business and what it is that we're trying to achieve. We 100% support Ryan. I mean, he's and how he's conducted himself during this whole ordeal. You can't underestimate the extent that this puts pressure on a man, and how it occupies his thoughts, how it affects his relationships, his home life, and obviously his business is like his primary source of income. I mean, Ryan's all in on AWE in terms of every available bit of spare time. He's putting into the business as well as investing a considerable amount of his time. This is time away from other aspects of his business. Where he could tip it all into his own YouTube page and make a lot more money than what he is in terms of dedicating his time to AWE at the moment. And all of these things Ryan's life would have been a lot easier if there was no AWE.
Yeah,
100%.
But a lot less fun.
He'd probably be pulling at East versus West.
He's signing a contract right now.
So essentially, we've ruined Ryan's career.
So he's got his own organization. AWE is going to be massive. It is already off to a big start with 2 big events. We've got a third coming in October, and we've got 40 people in here at the moment, which is amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.
We've got some dude who says, "What time is it down under?" It is 4:10 on Thursday afternoon here in Adelaide. Shane Opie, one of the SA Titans, which is
good afternoon, sir.
The local arm wrestling club here in Adelaide. Says afternoon to you. The Saw Doctor, Shane Opie. Hello to you too. Mr. Couch Apple never thought Travis would become the voice of reason. Alas, to surprise later. Engen gave explanation, thinking he is right and he wants to show the world that Travis is on his side. Okay, yeah, it was interesting. I agreed with everything that Travis said, and he went through that experience of contracts, and he says that every time he's been in a contract, he is reneged on it because enforcing a restriction at this level of the sport is just pointless. So. Yeah, but he had some very interesting points.
Is Travis the Vince Vaughn of arm wrestling? He's the best storyteller.
I want to know how he got that voice like so gravelly. And I wonder what age he was when it started.
I'd like to think it was like 8.
Yeah, like an 8-year-old. Hey,
let me tell you, young man.
Tell you.
It's the best.
Mr. Couch Apple, dead on. Make no mistakes about it. Any sport, any venture, a contract is good. But if it just means to control you for somebody else's best interest, then it is a problem.
True.
getting Mr. Cal Chappell is furiously typing on his keyboard, very long paragraphs. It's great. He's
Get into
very
it.
invested.
Yes.
Whatever the reason for Engen to push iron grip on athletes, to take away other promotion, athlete freedom to compete where, when, and who with his negative. I thought we saw that. You've written that twice.
Maybe.
He's run on each channel. Swish or Sweet, it will be interesting if it includes AMC or AWC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it probably will. Because aren't they tied into the same thing? I don't know much about those organizations.
I don't, to be honest. I think is AMC the event that John's pulling at, John and Todd are pulling at. So, and I think that's a core sports event. So maybe it's other affiliated events, and maybe there's an effort there to create a feeder system amongst these smaller promotions as well. So there's obviously a lot going on that we don't know about as well. So keep that in mind. We just know how it affects us and what we're doing, but I'm sure, and just judging from Engen's recent videos, that he's an extremely astute businessman with a very clear vision.
Who?
Engen.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes. The Schmo says. So I didn't think you were talking about him then. The Schmo.
You trailed off. You were reading the comments, and he went, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, and then he was saying astute, and I was like, "Who?" Oh,
you couldn't detect the sound.
No, that's right. I'm reading ahead. I'm seeing how far behind we are.
Let's get into
All
the
right.
comments.
The Schmo, people's future in arm wrestling being threatened on the down low due to their association with AWE Bowen is a problem. Good news. You're living in people's head rent free. There you go.
Some of your recent posts have alluded to that.
Yeah,
as well.
it was just some fun. I was messing around yesterday.
That's some fun.
That was just in fun. Travis, you outclassed the bum, says high level athletic. So good.
I saw him pop up on somebody else's channel the other day.
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah,
and I laughed then. But I was just by myself.
I don't know what he's referring to. I don't know. Maybe it's Travis Bagens or something. But he's stuck with that now. That's him. That's who you are. Oh, I'm from YouTube. I'm from the Travis Outclass the Bum guy. Oh, is that you? Yeah, that's me. High-level athletic teams are very transparent with contracts and sales, and in arm wrestling, it's very secret.
It's very secret.
Why?
Yeah. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's just a secret to us. So we've got to think that way, and to all of you, because you're not in the in crowd. So you've got to be.
Yeah, most of the time you won't be privy to the finer details of an athlete's contract. You may get the financials, and you'd have to take that with
You'll hear the headline figure, wouldn't you?
That's right, and you might have to take that with a grain of salt, because that might be their appearance fee, but then they might have a win fee, they might have this thing and another thing. I'm avoiding the UFC thing there because I could go into it, but I won't.
Have you got a spare?
Have I got a spare?
You want to get into it?
I'll very quickly cover.
Come on. All right. Here we go. All right. There you go.
Okay, in the UFC. So, what is announced as an athlete's pay to the media is not what the athlete is actually being paid.
What?
No, that's right.
Really?
So you might sign up to a $5,000, so 5,000 contract. So 5,000 to turn up and 5,000 if you win.
Yep.
And that's what's announced to the media. And people go off their tree because they think that fighter is not being paid much at all. They're like, oh, the most they could win is $10,000. This guy's fought for, but it's the biggest promotion in the world. They don't realize that they're actually paying them a lot more out the back with locker room bonuses, with the ability to win fight of the night, KO of the night, submission of the night. But there is definitely a massive other element of financial attribution that is contributed to the athlete that is not mentioned into the media.
Interesting.
So yeah, those elements are kept secret for the reason of that. You don't want people knowing how much you earn. Like if you don't want, so if you could meet somebody down the street, it's like, oh, how much do you earn for your job? Like, what do you get paid a year? It's like, I don't really want to tell you. Do you know what I mean? It's that.
Is it
same
because
feeling.
the UFC is paying in cash money?
It could be that as well.
It's cash money.
They're paying in checks. If you see Dana White's jacket, it will be filled with checks.
We're going to tell the media it's 5,000, but I tell you what, I'll pay you 20, but we just do it under the table.
You'll see me after the show.
You'll see
I
me
won't be here, but you'll see me. I'm leaving halfway through your flight.
You look in the locker room in the little brown pepper bag. It's beautiful. A little something.
Yeah. Matt Warren says, do you think Engen will still hold a grudge for Gallipoli?
Might be playing on his mind. Maybe
it
just
could
playing on his
be.
mind.
It could be.
Those are the throngs, the tens of thousands that attend every year. Maybe they're blocking up traffic or something in his neighborhood, and
It could be.
rolls him up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just the national indignity. Well,
John Grozelek says AWE should start pulling mid-level guys from the US and pull the American audience to you guys. Set up qualifiers or send some guys here and offer matches to guys who pin your guys. Yes, we're doing lots of things with AWE and we have lots of amazing matches. We are, yeah. We are doing these things. Yeah.
I love it. I love these podcasts. I find out so much.
That's right. There's many things happening, but we will endeavor to continue to put on the best matches we possibly can.
We got a few things in the mix currently, and so you guys might have noticed. We pride ourselves on being innovative. We're trying to iterate and refine the sport so it's more watchable, and that hopefully attracts some more interest. We're trying to make sure that the athletes aren't arguing with each other and the ref and everybody else in the auditorium in order just to get a fair go. We're making sure that there's a proper procedure. We're already seeing some of these elements being worked in with what other promotions are looking to do. So these innovations are just the beginning for us. There's a whole lot more coming your way.
Yeah, that's right. The instant replay, the championship belts.
Championship belt. That was really interesting. After AWE 3, there was the King of the East versus West promo video got released directly after, and the poor guy, I don't know if English was his first language, the chap that was doing the voiceover, but he got a little bit befuddled and confused. But it was like a real cheap version of what the promos that we were running. And then the belt came up and it was like, hang on, I thought they were still using helmets.
Yeah, helmets that don't fit the athlete's head.
Yeah. They got belts now. That's I wonder where I
couldn't imagine. Couldn't imagine where that came from. Wow, do you want to have a go at saying that name?
Numeronorian.
Sure.
Numeronorian.
Yeah.
Are you Korean and into numbers?
He is. He's a Numerian. Such a professional setup. And not like our pronunciation of your name. Kind of surprising after all these smartphone 240p streams we've been having. That's it, absolutely. Well, we do our best here, and then that is what we do with the AWE. We are looking to make on the production side, make everything look as good as possibly can. We did stream AWE2 in 1080p, 60 frames a second, and you can expect that again at AWE3. There won't be any dropouts, there won't be any lags, there won't be any pauses. It'll just be smooth sailing the whole way through. All right. And unlike, yeah, that's right. Unlike, we'll just leave it there. Workout says Engen is the enemy. In all capitals. It's an aggressive. You could feel the aggression in those words there. It's maybe headbutt at the keyboard to write that one.
Yeah.
English professor Vitali. Okay, says I lost all respect for Engen after he didn't allow athletes to compete in AWE. He's a petty, greedy bastard. Ooh, I should have read it before I said it.
I'll leave it up there a little while.
Yeah.
And that's a sentiment I've been seeing in the comments of other videos on the subject as well. So I think because the story on the other side has shifted from this is all the best interest of the sport to to have it all control over all of the athletes so that they're competing under one brand essentially, and that UFC was invoked on several occasions. Engen might want to get a little jar himself because he mentioned it 3 or 4 times.
That's right.
He made the analogy, the UFC did this, UFC
did
that.
they?
Yes,
Wow.
and So I thought that was quite interesting.
It's
So
like we did when we were doing the podcast on Sunday with Ryan. Sunday, I don't know, whenever it was, and he said, "Oh, Angus mentioning UFC a lot." He's like, "I know somebody that does." Matt, can you enter the chat, please? I'm like, right, here we go.
Here we go.
In 1993.
I thought that was just interesting seeing some of the observations that are going on out there, and we thank you for your sentiment there as well. Your kind support.
And that was the end of his sentence. Hiding behind virtual signaling under the guise of doing it for the sport.
I think that's what's got most people annoyed.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. If you, as you said at the start of the show, if you just come out and said, "Look, I want to make the business as best as it possibly can,"
he's going to come out and do a video like that. He's watching. He's going, "Hang on, oh, that's what."
I have to sit with
let me change. Let me close the window this time.
Yes,
close the window. Okay.
Put the shirt on.
Okay. Oh, here we go. I got my.
I need lights in the background. Lights. Somebody get me lights now.
Let me get my phone. Lean it. Okay. And I am doing this for the best of me, and
to crush everyone else around.
It is the only way that arm wrestling can grow.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's good. You like being crushed.
If East versus West is the best, that's the only way. And you go, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like if he came out and said, "Oh, we want to be the UFC of arm wrestling. We're 100% dedicated. We're getting a board of directors together. We're getting a marketing team together. You're never going to see production better than we're going to do. We're throwing tons of money at production, not just at athletes. We're going to steal the show." Now, you'd imagine if you pumped up the tires to that degree, you wouldn't need to stitch the athletes up because everybody'd want to be on the show, wouldn't they? But maybe he's anticipating, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what he's anticipating.
Imagine you did a show like that where you just didn't open your mouth like, Anyway, turn up the heat.
Hey, maybe next week.
All the viewers just drop. Terrible idea, man. If the sport was all that mattered to England, he would not allow personal issues to cloud his judgment. Targeting only AWE shows his true mentality. Absolutely. There we go. And Workout says, "I will never buy EVW pay-per-view again, thanks to Engen the Dictator."
I saw a lot of this in the comments, actually. I'll never buy a pay-per-view again. You've lost my support. Blah, 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 blah. So that's been the interesting tail end of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, people are seeing through what he's saying, really. And especially, you can't just say, "I'm doing this for the good of sport." Except for you, AWE. I want everyone to be fair and have a fair competition, apart from you guys. It's great. Turn up the heat. Says,
"Are there any meetings about this? There's this Engen just stews on stuff for weeks, and then nope, that's it.
That's it. Everyone else, we need lights. Somebody get the lights."
Yeah, I'll do the camera. Window.
No, I know how to do it.
Leave it.
Get out of here. You're distracting me.
Leave.
You're finished in this town. You'll never work here again. Turn up the heat says, giving BS reasons that are obviously lies. Laugh out loud. Unified. Only thing unified is his bloody ego. There you go.
Unify.
The Drew. The Drew. Hello, you've
if you
made
don't
it.
unify, you are bad.
That's right. Drew says, "What did I miss?" Well, we are discussing AWE and the contract situation, but I did forward on the Drew's unboxing video. What did you think of that?
It was amazing.
It was so
cool. It was so cool. Yeah. Is that out there? That was just for us. Nobody would have seen that in the.
I don't know if it was unlisted or not.
I
think it's public. Yeah.
Oh, it's public.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool. So I mean, just awesome. Yeah, the Drew. I was excited to see that.
Yeah, that's all I was like.
Yeah. That was really, really cool. So I hope you're enjoying it. The tight shirts are a bit small though, aren't they? But if you pin it up, put it in the pool room, be nice, or use it to wash the car. So
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it does make your arms look bigger. That's the secret.
that's
This is a small.
extra small. Yeah.
That's right. It was such a cool moment to see the Drew. I'm so glad that you filmed that for us.
I'm so glad that he's an actual person.
That's right. Not just like we say that because he's always here every single time we're online and helping us out and doing amazing
I
jobs.
just
so.
suspected it was an AI bot that was programmed to like us.
That's right. It's been assigned to you.
Yeah.
John Groslick says arm wrestling isn't deep enough to sign guys to exclusive contracts. We need more mid-level and low-level encouragement and opportunity. There you go.
Yeah.
And he also says the UFC Ultimate Fighter TV show model. Yeah, well, that was the thing that really brought them out of bankruptcy. They were $30 million in the. He brought it up. Thanks, John. You're costing me money.
You owe Matt, John.
Yeah, that's right. But they were $30 million in debt, and because the UFC had been banned in so many states, and they didn't have unified rules, and they were sort of working on how to structure their organization so that they could get legalized again. They were losing a lot of money, and they were down 30 million. And they took a swing at the Ultimate Fighter TV show, and it was a big hit. The final of that show, Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin, you can see it was a 3-round fight, and in between each round, they went to commercial break, and the viewership between each round went through the roof, doubling the first and then tripling and quadrupling for the last round because the fight was so back and forth and so amazing. You imagine everyone was texting each other. You got to see this. You got to, it's, because it was live on free TV.
Yeah.
And that really brought a lot of attention to the UFC, and we're like, what is this thing? And this fight is incredible. It's amazing. These guys are putting on the fight of the century kind of thing. And that is the thing that allowed them to springboard back into finding their pay-per-view audience and getting people to spend money on the events.
Yeah.
And Awakened Anarchism says, I will never purchase an East versus West again.
Solidarity.
It's a aggressive statement there with the capitals and everything.
I can feel it.
I can feel the power of that.
Through the screen.
That's right.
Yeah.
And John says support from Montana, USA. It is 12:46 a.m. here. Well, you're having a late night, and we are very thankful you are staying up and awake to enjoy the podcast with us. We're having fun. We're laughing and being silly. As always, if you have first time watching the AWE podcast,
we apologize.
It's probably all of your first times, though. Awakened Anarchism says, greetings and support from Florida. Thank you very much, sir.
Matt's favorite US state.
Well, this is one where Artem Taranenko comes from, and that had so many problems with his flights from.
Yeah.
I mean, he drove from. There was 2 different airports he had to go to. Oakland. I don't know. It was like Oak Bridge. I don't know. Oakland first one, and then he had to go to Jacksonville and something, or the other way around, and then they rebooked it, and it's been rebooked. Okay, great. Now we've cancelled that too.
Orlando.
It was Orlando. Yeah, sorry. I'm thinking of Oakland in California for some reason. But they're basically the same place, I think.
Essentially.
Exactly the same side of the country.
Yeah.
The Drew says, I think the true enemy is pride. Well, pride comes before the fall, doesn't it? So we'll see how things play out from here.
Stoic words.
Funny enough, the UFC didn't like competition, so it bought Pride. Well, I think at that, here we go.
Pride faded away by that stage, so they really just bought the back catalogue,
video catalog, and they bought the contracts, but there wasn't all the fighters that they thought that all the fighters that were on Pride were still under contract, but like 90% of them weren't.
They moved on.
Yeah. So they got Mark Hunt, they got a few other guys, but yeah, essentially they spent $100 million on a video library.
Yeah.
And all the rights and trademarks and all the rest of it.
It did, yeah, that's right.
And then the Yakuza just started another organization. Another one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the Yakuza, but
let's just say
if anyone is from the Yakuza, I didn't say that.
It was not.
I know how many Yakuza people are watching. Awakened Anarchism says Engen is an emotional snowflake. How many people's videos have been reported and removed from YouTube after somebody pissed King Engen off? Plus, he blocks and removes comments like a baby as well.
Well, I think we got copyright struck this week for one of our videos, because one of the promotional videos, and I can't recall which one it was now, but it did feature some King of the Table footage. I think
3 seconds of it.
3 seconds, yeah, and got struck. The complaint that came from our friends at Core Sports, and you know, maybe it's naive of us to utilize that footage. I mean, they did spend the money on it. It is theirs.
It's fair use, though.
There's an argument. Yeah.
Well,
so
I think, if you look at the rules of fair use, I think we were quite covered there. But
there's an argument. We'll be okay with that. But yeah, we agreed to remove it, and we understand now that we well and truly are perceived to be competitors, and of course, you know, I guess we might get cranky now if they use some of our footage, you know, and I guess fair enough. But because I guess the advantage with our footage is that it looks amazing, you know, those photos, and you know,
you can immediately see that it's AWE.
The production quality, yeah. So
see the difference straight away. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it wasn't just our video. We had a lot of people that did message me and say that all of a sudden had copyright strikes on their content.
Oh, it was good to know it wasn't just us.
It was a lot of people with videos from a long time ago, videos that they'd posted just recently. Anything with footage from any of those two organizations was getting hit with copyright.
So they went out there to find it. So I mean, I guess they're seeing that as their IP, and they're seeing that as you know, if we're going to tie up all the athletes, we want to send a message to the arm wrestling world that they're not to use our footage, that we are not here to provide them with free content, and they will not do this.
How dare you?
Yeah,
how dare you?
Yeah.
The Drew says, or is it a dictator? There you go.
I love a dick joke.
James Stewart says AWE should pay a I don't know what that is.
Is that some kind of Turkish bribe? Maybe is that a?
You'll have to explain that one to us, James. I don't know what that word means.
Love to know. Now I'm curious.
The Schmo says, glad you've got the luck of the Irish with you, gentlemen. Big things coming. Absolutely. AWE 3 is just around the corner in October. We'll be revealing the card in just a few minutes. We'll just get through. There's only a couple more comments here we're catching up on. The Drew says, at first I had it unlisted, and then I was like, well, whatever. I wish my phone is better at recording, though. Yeah, I did put the volume up like 300% to be able to hear it. And then I forgot that it was at that level, and I went on to another video and I was like, anyway, about wrestling. Hope Engen decides to step aside before he starts doing more harm than good to arm wrestling.
Well, it makes you think, and I guess if I was an athlete and I was looking at the recent behavior, people of that age seldom do their temperaments change dramatically, and or not without good reason. So you're seeing that now. Is that somebody that you're going to commit the next 3 years of your life to? Some people are going to be really happy to do that and swap some money over and see it as a good deal. That's fine, but it's just a question to ask. It's all on display. You can see what you're getting into now. So
absolutely. Awakened Anarchism. He's agreeing with Enemy of Arm Wrestling. And Drew mentions he's bringing the UFC up. I didn't do it here. Okay. Stephen Bonner, rest in peace, heart issues. Wonder if it had anything to do with certain public health vaccinations. Both him and Griffin lived here in Vegas. Yes, I do believe that Stephen was dealing with a fair few health issues leading up to his death. Unfortunately. And I did meet him in Las Vegas when I went over there. Lovely guy. Tragedy that he died, especially that so young, and what a fantastic athlete and amazing performances that he put on throughout his career.
But I will say, the Drew, seems to be a lot of that going on at the moment. It's easy to come about that that feeling that there's maybe some correlation.
I don't know if he was vaccinated or not.
We don't know.
Darko says, Call Sport strikes only Engen's ego. Yes, well. The truth is, people should stick by their own words, not constantly remove their own live podcasts like certain people.
Like certain people.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Certain people
No
don't like
good
me and I don't
boy.
like certain people.
Says, what did Todd Hutchings say? Is there a problem that he, as an athlete, mentioned? Todd hasn't said anything.
Mostly about Matt Connolly. That time when they had that beer at the airport.
Yeah.
He's
Oh, I told you what the guy
he hasn't been
behind
the same since.
when we went to get the drink, and because I don't know, it was the airport. They've always got expensive beers,
Yeah.
ones you'd never drink. And I said to Todd, which one is there a particular one that you'd like? And he's like, and like all the ones on tap. It's like he would never have heard of the Carlton Draft and
all the Australian beers.
Exactly, yeah. And then I said, "Oh, they got more in the fridge at the back there." And he's like, just a Corona."
He
He's like,
recognised the Corona.
That's right, Corona. Yeah, loved it. And I said, 2 Coronas, thanks, mate. And then so the guy gave us the Coronas, took the lids off, and then he says to Todd, "Do you want a lime in it?"
Say that again.
Do you want a lime in it?
Now we're going to pause the story there for a little bit. Say it one more time, and then we're going to wait in the comments and see who understands what's just been said.
Do you want a lime in it?
Okay.
All right.
So we'll leave the story there. We'll come back to it. I don't know if there's any prizes. Maybe there's something. Not sure. We might send you a roll clean soap or something. But if you can decipher what it was, because Todd Hutchings
was perplexed the 3 times that the guy said it.
Borderline going to turn violent at this man. No, he wasn't at all. Todd Hutchings is a sweetheart.
I had no idea what this dude had said.
He was puzzled. Wasn't sure if it was a compliment. Wasn't sure if it was.
It was just a sound. Great. Mr. Couch Apple says, related to arm wrestling contract fiasco, a particular post from a Redditor is in Rampage and has maximum upvote continue. A particular post from a Redditor is in Rampage. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Maybe there's a thread on Reddit and somebody's voting the comment up. Questions are, this is probably the thing on Reddit. Can I arm wrestle with a friend at home without Egg's permission? No, not if we're there.
Yes, as long as they're not wearing an AWE shirt.
That's right. Or hat, which will be available in the AWE website and store, which is, I think, we're like tomorrow, the next day.
We're there, almost there.
Yeah.
We'll be back here. We'll be letting you know all about it as soon as we're launching, but it's days away.
B, is it necessary to buy a permit or subscription from East versus West or Core Sport to play this sport?
I don't know.
There you go.
Have to ask.
You have to ask.
You might get copyright struck. Somebody's taking a photo of you arm wrestling.
No.
Yeah.
You're done.
Uploads it on uploads it onto Facebook. Core Sports. We own that.
You won't ever be able to compete
That's
again.
sport.
You're done in this town. You're finished. The copyright strikes are quite funny. People make videos promoting their product and then they crap on the creators. Great marketing strategy. Piss off the extremely niche market.
Yeah. Way to go.
AWE4 has to be in Vegas, clearly, and it will be
your place.
At your place in your backyard.
Yep.
If you've got back. We'll build you one. Travis, you outclassed the bum, says AWE would benefit by signing Travis. Yes, well, Travis, I don't believe he likes contracts that much. So
it seems.
We would love to work with Travis. He is a legend of the world of arm wrestling.
Yep.
John says, I remember Todd Hutchings proclaimed Montana's worst beats Australia's best last February, champ. Yeah, well, this is one of the things is that the Oceanic region is rising in strength and ability, and putting on events of this caliber gives people the opportunity to see our athletes perform. And we've got amazing guys who have had very highly successful journeys through America. Like we've got Jamie Barrett, who went through America and did very well. We've got Mario Timbarkis, who went over and competed very nicely in the Arizona State tournament that they had. I believe he won the left hand and came third on right hand. So we definitely have some amazing pullers down here.
Mario's second tour, I think, US.
That's right.
So there's and I think the other thing is what international viewers might not, a few of you be right into it and understand. But recently, Mataringi Hedemaras had a match up with Lachlan Adair in regional Australia. It was a one-off. It was a super match. It was something put together just amongst, I think it was a cousin of Mataringi's. Had the
Yeah, that's
venue
right.
and the pub, and they just thought, yeah, let's put something on. This would be cool. I think Jake went down there and Ryan, and they emceed the night and packed out a pub, had a fantastic night, and a good night was had by all. Especially Lachlan Adair, who was dominant, dominant in a fashion that Todd wasn't against Mataringi. And so observers of that match also looked at Todd's match and went, you know what? Lachlan's leveled up. Maybe, this is a really good matchup. We were really looking forward to seeing how close Lachlan is, or whether maybe he's even surpassed the side pressure king, Todd Hutchings. And but we'll never get to see that matchup now, and that's really sad. And I guess that's the thing with the people are always moving up and down the scales and wanting to test themselves against the best in the world, and that opportunity mightn't be necessarily afforded people under the new regime that we find ourselves under.
Absolutely, yes. John says, I'd love to see our number one Ben Brooks against Bowen.
Oh, well,
it's potentially maybe a future match.
I might be in the chat. You never know.
Oh, Matt Warren has nailed it there. He must be an Australian. Do you want a lime in it? That was the word. That was the question that was asked of Todd Ziller at the airport. Do you want a lime in it?
You want a lime in it?
Do you want a lime in it?
Yeah.
Todd has looked and said, oh, what? And he goes, do you want a lime in it? And then he looks at me like, I have no idea what this guy's saying. I said, oh, he's asking you if you want a lime in your Corona. He goes, oh, no, I'm fine. Thank you.
What do you want to do?
So there we go. But you have hit the nail on the head there, Matt Warren. Awakened Anarchism says, I have nothing but respect for Bowen and Pradeep. I like the fact that they speak their minds and they don't grovel or kiss the asses of the top brass in the arm wrestling world.
Pradeep's he's come out and said, I really like contracts. They've got a place, but it's really clearly articulated and one of the most concise commentaries has been Grant Diet. So I think in the 6-minute video, he's kind of really summed it up really nicely. So definitely check out those guys. I'm sure most of you already are checking them out, but if you haven't already and you're new to AWE, you just jumped on and you're new to arm wrestling, definitely check out these guys as they've got some great channels. We don't always agree with them, but we do enjoy everything they've got to say.
I do like Grant's delivery. It's interesting. He speaks very slowly but very clearly, and it's because he's got the thick Scottish accent, and it comes across very much a point. Like every sentence he's saying is important. It's quite good. I really like it.
I think that it is something said with the Scottish accent. Like if you've got a strong Scottish accent in Australia, you've either just stepped off the boat, which isn't likely because we don't have a lot of Scotsmen running around, or you've been here for like 50 years. And so it kind of comes with a level of authority to Australian ears when you hear a Scotsman say something, even if it is like a 28-year-old Scotsman. It's like, oh, we better listen to him. He's got wise words. Wise words come with that accent.
Buy that t-shirt. I will. Brian D says, is Volkanovski the GOAT? I don't believe so. I would say John Jones is probably the greatest of all time at this point in time. And I would call him undefeated despite the fact he has one loss in his record, which was a disqualification to Matt Hamill, which was a downwards elbow, which should not have been called. Just a stupid decision by Steve Mazzagatti, who made many stupid decisions and now is no longer a UFC referee. So, a referee appointed by the Athletic Commission. There we go. But Volkanovski is a fantastic fighter.
He might be the best. He's right up there in the top 3.
Brandon Chan, good evening, gentlemen. My endurance is still sore after the practice balls with Matt. We had a good session on Sunday, and Brandon is definitely leveled up.
You're live streaming them now.
I did. That was great. It's the first time we did it, and I was having a go with Tim Graham, the head referee that you would have seen at AWE.
So he arm wrestles as well.
He did. He does. He actually taught all of us how to arm wrestle. That's right. And it was really back and forth, and we were having some really good matches. I was filming it, but I thought, man, I wonder if if we went live, like this would be so much better, like because people could interact. And so I just flicked the button, turned the camera around, and yeah, we went live. It was different. It was interesting. I had a feeling of pressure on me that I needed to make sure there was something that people would want to watch. So I ended up sort of staying on the table like the entire like 3-hour session. And we sort of snuck away for like 2 minutes, and then whoever I left on the table like just wandered away. And I look back and there's just the table, and I'm like, oh. So yeah, but
dead air.
yeah, that's right, dead air. Yeah, and it worked out well because then everyone in the club could see their footage straight away. It was all online. I didn't have to edit anything. I was like, it's there. Just go to that. It did. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Brandon, we had some fun on Sunday, and Drew says, well, it depends on which part of Australia that guy was from. It could have sounded much different. The Australian accent doesn't vary that much. A little bit. And it depends on your sort of, I guess, maybe your I was going to say education level, but maybe your
it's less geographical and more more in terms of your class or your education.
Yeah.
It's probably with the exception maybe being South Australia, where you tend to sound like you've had a good education even if you haven't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go to Queensland and you sound like you're South Australian, you sound like you're like up the stratosphere, the social stratosphere a little, just a little, 1 or 2 levels.
Yeah. But this thing, I could be talking to somebody who's from Queensland, and I would have no idea they were from there unless they told me.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a real kind of. I was on the phone to a lady in far north Queensland, and the way she ended the conversation was with "righto,
Uru." It's like, huh?
Yeah.
There is certain words that will give it away. Oh, what schnitzel parmigiana? Do you call it a parma or a palmy?
I'd say palmy.
Yeah, same. I've always said that, and I never heard anyone call it a parma until Stretch from the club did the other day. He was from Sydney or New South Wales, and he's like, "It's parma," and I'm like, "No. It's PA. It's got an I in it. Parmigiana." He's like, "No, but it's parma." Anyway,
Yeah,
these are important conversations that we need to have in front of an audience. Devin just made a bit about the ArmBet app release number 2.
Ooh, well, yeah.
Cool.
Stay tuned.
All
Stay
right.
tuned. Here, there's other products in development, by the way. So, yeah,
Cool.
put that out there.
The Shimoda, I hate to admit or say it, but Australia did better at East versus West last event than America. Yeah, well, Lachlan Adair came away with a win.
Yeah.
And who else? Was there anyone else in Australia that was on that card? I don't think so. But
I don't think so. It was. Yeah.
no. Well, there you go. I didn't actually watch the card.
Yeah. I knew Lachlan was in it, of course, but
yeah. Mr. Couch Apples says, whatever happens, I hope AWE will provide opportunity to grow the sport in the region. Time for ready to office.
Signing off.
Time for ready for office.
Yeah. So we're planning
to office.
AWE 5 is in Denmark. So
right.
We're bring it
at the Mr. Couch Apples backyard.
Yeah, we're going to grow the sport in your region. maybe AWE 6 in Istanbul. We'll see.
Yeah, that's right. That'd be hilarious. Funny hell. You'd want a security team if you're over there. Everyone was looking forward to that match, but it seemed to make one person very angry, though. I don't remember which match we were talking about.
I think that we were talking about Lachlan and Todd. And
oh, yes.
Yeah, maybe it did. And I had given thought to this because that might be a matchup that Engen had in mind for Todd at East versus West. It could have also have been, it could have tarnished Todd's prestige if he'd lost to Lachlan. And maybe in some part, it's a good move for Todd to move. I mean, he might have won, but if he hadn't have won, the chances of negotiating such favourable terms might not have been as high.
That's right.
Yeah, especially if you're not the current intercontinental champion and the person trying to sign you is trying to secure you because you are the champion. So he was the champion. He was not defeated, and he comes away with the belt in Engen's mind and moves over, and that's quite nice. So, yeah, that might have been one of the reasons why Lachlan wasn't able to compete.
Do you think he'll wear the AWE?
Tom's not allowed to compete against Lachlan.
Right. Do you think he'll wear the AWE Intercontinental
I
belt
hope so.
out at East versus West?
I'd hate to think he's just making dinner with it on. I'd love to think he'd walk in there with the strap over his shoulder and show him what a real belt looks like, what a man-sized belt looks like.
That's it.
Yeah.
There we go. Swisher Sweet, did you fellas manage to see the unsavory characters on Jake's call-in show yesterday? No, I haven't seen it.
I watched some parts of it, so maybe I just dipped out.
No, I missed it. Sorry, mate. You'll have to explain.
Fill us in.
Yeah. Have you guys thought of getting the refs some AWE ref shirts, maybe red and black stripes? I hate those soccer-looking jerseys for referees. I think it looks silly, and I think that it's not soccer.
We did raise it as a point of discussion because, when everybody else does something, there's a famous Mark Twain quote I'm sure you're familiar with: when on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. And we looked around at what everybody was doing, and stripes was that they're definitely in for refs. And we like the aesthetic of having everybody in the same branded uniform, the black pants, the black shirt, the AWE shirt. And I think on screen it looks great.
Yeah, and plus you've got the danger of it patterning as well with stripes like that, so close together. With certain cameras, certain designs will do this weird sort of thing when they're on screen.
Yeah.
So there is that risk as well. But I just don't like the look of them.
I'm not a massive fan of it.
That's right. Next question here. We've got South Australians definitely have a different accent, a superior accent, I believe.
This is what I understand. Dude. Swish and Sweet, are you Australian? Is this a little tell?
He said he's going to be coming along to AWE 3. So, yes, I believe he's in Australia.
Oh, there's plenty of people coming from overseas.
He said Palmer as well. So, he's definitely not.
Okay, so you're from Sydney. Yeah. And you say pool and school.
Yeah,
so,
Graph instead of Graph.
Graph, yeah.
What if they said dance?
Newcastle.
Dance or dance?
No, it's dance if you're in Sydney.
Okay, so I should. Okay, so I should wear my SAAW club shirt if I am in AU for a level of prestige. My God, that was hard to read.
Yes, we're all wearing the shirts 3 or 4 sizes too small.
That's right. That's right. It makes you look bigger, especially if you do it over a few weeks. Like you start with an XL and then the large and medium and small, and then just no shirt. There we go here. Yummy says, is Ben Carroll retired? I don't know, but I don't think he's competed for quite a while. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Might be on hiatus.
Yes, but he would be fantastic.
Working on his 3rd album.
That's right. He would be welcome back if he decides to come back into the sport. Same with Danny Tesh, the mythical creature. If AWE manages to bring Danny Tesh out of retirement, East versus West is done.
Where does that? Engen's already put out feelers, but nobody knows if Danny's still.
I don't think Danny's interested. I think he's quite happy to.
He's not answering the mail.
Yeah, I think he's very happy to stay retired. Awakened Anarchism says the timing of certain arm wrestlers not being able to show up at recent AWE events is really strange. Gee, I wonder who was perhaps behind that. Yes.
I wonder. Yes. Much controversy. But what I would say is that I think everybody should really look forward to this documentary that's coming out.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
The Coach Ray Yanis documentary. So this is
it's a comedy, I believe.
Cool. I'm not sure what the format is. I'm not sure, but I do understand that there was an international film crew and who descended upon Latvia and followed these fine young men around to find out what it was like a day in the life of a Latvian arm wrestler.
Right. Yeah.
Find out more about their story and what it is that they're doing.
I am looking forward to that.
Yeah. Might be on Netflix. Just stay tuned, I guess.
Keep the eyes out.
I haven't heard anything more about it since the filming. I would have been interested to see some of the behind the scenes. It's just a little bit of hype about it. Yeah. So we might see some
maybe one day
released.
It's got to hope.
It just makes you look forward to it more.
It does.
When you haven't heard anything more about it.
Yeah.
When weeks go by and there's no more talk. And
every day I get up and check and there's still nothing.
Yeah.
First thing I do.
You'd think if you're really active on social media, like if it was a thing that you did a lot.
Yeah.
And something was pretty big was happening. Like
Yeah.
a film crew was coming. I don't know.
Would you?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if you documented or
Nah.
probably not.
Swisher Sleet says this is about the unsavory characters that were on Jake's stream there. There were 3 trolls. One went on a racist rant before Jake cut him off. That is always the danger of having people on your show.
A racist rant.
Well,
Ooh,
I don't know if they were
I want to watch it now.
if they were called in or whether they were in the comments, but
Were they did they call in? Did they get their face on the screen, say something racist, and Jake had to go, no, you're off.
get
Or
out.
Did it cause some kind of, or was it just in the comments? It's hard to know.
Don't know. But never a good thing and never a good idea.
Saw Jake and Uncle John the other day as well. You know, really covering the subject matter in great length and getting a vibe from
accuracy, great length and accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good.
Melbourne born. There you go.
Born.
Yeah.
All right, pal.
Yeah, and
People from Melbourne say pal.
And
don't they?
Ace. That's Ace.
Ace and pal. Like you won't find anybody from Adelaide ever call you pal. No, ever.
Hey, buddy.
But yeah, but
Champion.
people from Melbourne will call you pal and champ. And
Alex
say
says
grouse.
Grousey.
Grouse. That's a Melbourne thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Haven't heard that for a while. Though.
No.
It's Alex says, it's Palmer. I told you, Hollywood. That's who it was. It wasn't Stretch. It was you, Alex.
Oh, it's Alex. All right.
It's Buddy Comp Robert.
Oh, you should know better.
I think he's from New South Wales as well. So
he's been here long enough.
Yeah, you should have switched over. The Drew says, Swisher, why were you so racist?
Stop it, Swisher.
Danny isn't inactive or retired. He's just wrapped up in a long-term contract with a failed promotion.
Can't talk about it either.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a gag order.
If he does, he loses that $1 million a year. Stay at home.
That's right. During this fight, the Drew says, during this fighting to be the greatest, biggest arm wrestling organization, Pro Panja Lead is already the biggest right now. They have
interesting.
Enormous viewership. They are doing amazing things over there. If you haven't checked out Pro Panja League, go and check them out. They are doing a spectacular job. They are based in India and they have incredible pullers. And one of their featured athletes is Masahiro Saito, who will be facing off against Ryan Blue Bowen here at AWE3.
Yeah, the King of India. Well, I think he's actually competing almost for that title this weekend coming. So Pro Panja League, 4 million viewers on Sony TV, which is like Fox Sports or like a big cable network in India. 4 million viewers, just absolutely amazing, and they're doing great things and production values through the roof. I mean,
there's a guy fighting a bear.
Really?
Didn't see that.
A guy fighting a bear was
no.
I was going to say that I've noticed that in the Kazakh League,
right?
Yeah, where it's basically arm wrestling bears.
Yeah. In a circle,
and just waiters walking around with horse meat on a platter, just handing it out to the audience.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I've lost where I'm up to here. During this fight, it was the Drew. Oh, there it is. We've got Swisher Sleet says, I'm not saying I was unhappy Jack cut the troll off.
It's not unhappy, or
I'm
you wanted
saying
him
he
to
must have cut you off. Get the joke, Swisher. He's saying it was you.
It's you, Swisher.
Don't call me pal, buddy. I'm not your buddy, friend.
All right, mate.
All right, mate. The Trollmaster says, I'm here. It's me, Engen. Oh, hello.
We've been waiting. Why, Engen? Why?
First time we've ever had any discussion with you. I'm surprised you know who we are. Or how to find the AW podcast. No Jake and them on the show. One dropping the N-word, hating on Don Adris. Yeah, that's always the danger when you put strangers on your show, but that's why you've got the option to be able to kick them. Andrew H says AWE should invite Pradeep of Arm Wrestling News to commentate. Arm Wrestling community members shunned by Engen should stick together, even if he doesn't survive. It doesn't have the suave Aussie accent.
Helps though, doesn't it?
It does help.
Yeah.
Especially the South Australian Aussie accent.
Yes. In particular, where we say palmy.
correctly say palming.
Yeah.
Two of the pullers will pull in the AWE event. That's correct. Raul Panica will be facing off against Josh Barker, the under 70 kilo champion and unstoppable force of Josh Barker. Will be taking on
Wow.
Raul Panica, Mr. Abs, in a pose off, and then they will arm wrestle after that. And we can, Anarchism says Andrew H. best idea and comment made here so far. Pradeep, yes. So we've got Swisher Sweet says if the East versus West matches were in the Pro Panja League setting, I think they would have a shot to get onto TV by now, but they're not.
Yeah, really interesting that. Excuse me. Really interesting that the attention is put on the athlete pay, and maybe there's something going on in the background with respect to production values. But I would say production values are a lot less expensive to address, and they've had a big opportunity to address that to now. Interesting that this whole conversation is wrapped up. Engen, Core Sports. This is the association, and we start seeing that. There's some exceptions made for people that are sympathetic or in good relationships with those particular organizations. So very, I think with Core Sports at the moment, I don't know to the extent that they're acting independently of East versus West, and to the extent that King of the Table is influenced by anything that goes on at Core Sports, whether they're acting as one entity, King of the Table, Core Sports, negotiating as such separate. It's very messy. It's very difficult to completely understand. But what is clear is that if you're not in that clique and you're on the outside, you're an enemy of the arm wrestling.
Stay. Yeah, so Swisher Sweet says Pradeep would be good. He's going to promote it if he's involved. We've been in talks back and forth with Pradeep. He's been helping us out with some of the things with the Indian market, and he's been very valuable and a big asset for us. So
yeah. So from what we understand, Pradeep's been is a great advocate of the sport and just wants to see growth in the region. And of course, he's got some great relationships with some awesome people over there, and he's been instrumental in the growth of the sport in that part of the world. I mean, he's very much the Ryan Bowen of that part of the world, isn't he? So we look forward to seeing the effect of the Indians partaking here in Australia. And it's, I think from their perspective, I think it's great as well, because they get to test themselves against the best outside of India, and Pro Panja League, it's a little bit like IPL for people in cricketing countries around the Commonwealth. You might be familiar with IPL, but for those that aren't, let me just fill you in momentarily. It's a form of cricket that's played over about 2.5, 3 hours instead of being played out over 5 days, or like one day cricket, one day. But essentially, it's a franchise model, and so Pro Panja have gone in that direction. Even the uniforms are very IPL. They've got very similar kind of aesthetic to
chaps.
No, I missed that one. Maybe that's a regional team. I missed, but so it's got that. The athletes have that aesthetic to them, but the thing to recognise for Pro Panja is that there's not another league in the world that's being watched more than Pro Panja right now.
Is it because of the chaps?
Could be. Could be.
That's great. Yeah. As long as I make myself laugh, that's all I care about.
Oh, if there's not, let me have a little bit more of this lucky and love juice over here.
Should we reveal the card, the AWE3 card, apart from one match, which we're still sorting out?
Sure.
All right. So here's the ones that people know about already, which is obviously the main event. Will be Lachlan Adair versus Derek Smith.
Very exciting. Very
Absolutely.
exciting.
We also have Ryan Blue Bowen going against India's king or emperor or supreme chancellor or whatever.
Supreme being.
Supreme being, yeah, the overlord, Mazahir Saidu.
Yep.
And we've got Josh Barker, the 70 kilo king. He is taking on Raul Panica. And
Really good for those guys because
Oh, yeah.
those guys. I mean, it's hard for them. They're really at the top of the food chain in their respective regions. So this is going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
Well, I'm excited actually to see that because Josh has been so dominant under 70 kilos, and it's almost like for him to have a challenge, he's always gone against guys that are bigger than him, and he's always facing guys that are the under 80 kilo champion or heavier, and doing fantastically. And then when he comes to the under 70s, he just absolutely obliterates everybody.
Yeah.
And so to him have an actual challenger in the under 70 kilo division is like, oh, this is fantastic. This is exactly your sort of match. And so very excited about that one. Then we've also got the biggest arm wrestling
771 pounds of elite arm wrestling athlete.
That's right.
Side by side on the table.
Mata Waringi Hedda Morris versus Marcus Atirai. Both guys 170 plus kilos. That's going to be absolutely massive. So those are the ones we've announced already. But here we go for the rest of the card.
Drum roll.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Taryn Broad from South Australia, who did compete on AWE 1 against
you
Josh
might remember.
Parker, and come away with a victory. That's correct. Very, very strong under 80 kilo puller. He will be taking on Adam Laura in a rematch, which they had a match earlier in the year, which and Adam Laura has also competed in AWE.
So a little bit of history for both athletes here. So Adam Laura also featured at AWE 1, losing out to Marcus Atirai, who went on to compete against Gunther Bykov, who was the gentleman kind enough to pass on some of this Latvian love juice right here before us. Both athletes introduced to the world at AWE 1. Taryn walking away with the win, but a win that most people expected.
Yes.
Now, what a lot of people didn't expect was what happened at the after pool, which was how competitive Taryn was against some of these super heavyweights. And Adam Laura and Taryn Broad at the after pool found a little something together and decided that they would have their own matchup. I think it was just at the Sydney Spartans Club.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so they just got together. Taryn's from Adelaide and got himself, I think he rode his push bike, but he got himself over to Sydney and won that matchup against Adam Laura, which no one was experiencing. So Adam's been ranked in the top 10 in Australia in open weight for a long time, and there was Taryn at a little over 80 kilos. Now can add the moniker the Giant Killer to Tyrannosaurus in terms of his fight names, leading into AWE 3. So this is quite a curious matchup, and of course, Adam might be of the mind that, well, I didn't really prepare and I didn't maybe take it seriously, and Taryn's maybe played that clip on social media too many times, and I do not want to see that again. And maybe I do need to put this young man in his place. And Taryn's now kind of got that rep and wants to prove that it wasn't just a fluke, and that with the right preparation from both sides, that Taryn can take on a top 10 super heavyweight and push himself perhaps into that conversation of top 10 athletes in the region. So this is exciting for Taryn and very brave of Adam as well. So very interesting matchup.
Absolutely.
85 kilo Taryn, 120 or thereabouts kilo Adam Laura.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah, it would be interesting to see whether or not Adam follows the same strategies that he implemented in their first matchup, which obviously Taryn is very, very strong in the hook position, and that all 3 rounds went to the hook, where I was slightly surprised that Adam was happy to go there and happy to test hook on hook, and he didn't come away with the victory. But whether or not in the rematch he will try to prevent Taryn from getting into that position, or whether he feels maybe I was just off on that day and my hook is stronger and I'm going to go and we're going to see who's the bigger, better man. But it will be a very interesting match for sure.
So that's a matchup we're both super curious about and can't wait to see the outcome of. So we don't know which way it'll slide. And our next matchup, young Jamie Barrett, who also also appeared at AWE 1.
He did. Yeah, that's right.
And up against one of our newer AWE superstars.
That's right. Yeah. So Jamie went on AWE 1. He went against Hamza Hodzic for the AWE Junior Champion title, which Hamza was able to walk away with the victory there. But Jamie, a very, very fast, explosive puller, works incredibly hard, and I think he's almost training 6-7 days a week. He's catching 2-hour trains to go to train with Ryan, and then
So
2 hours back
dedicated.
on top of working full time. This man is very dedicated to the sport of arm wrestling, and he will be taking on a local in Brisbane, SK. So yes, from I believe it's a Korean gentleman.
From Korea. So via Brisbane here in Australia. I think he's calling Australia home for the time being. But all of his training and all has been in Korea up to now, and he's found himself in with some clubs in Queensland, and has been impressing everybody. And of course, the conversations come up about these two young men, and we thought, well, there's only one fair way of sorting that argument out, and that's at AWE 3.
Absolutely, yeah, that'll be an explosive match. Look for the speed of Jamie Barrett there. And we have AWE heavyweight champion will be defending his title against the bad boy of arm wrestling in Lachlan Carpenter, who did also feature at AWE 2, taking out Doug Fatafihi 4-0, actually, looking incredibly dominant. And he had a very clear plan that he wanted that title, and he was like, I want Gunters. I'm training with everything I've got to come and get that title. I've been honored to pull against Gunters, and that's the match that I want more than anything. So he's been granted that match, and Gunters is going to be defending his heavyweight title against the man from Sydney.
Yeah. No, Gunther's the purveyor of fine Latvian love juice, as you can see right here. And I'll tell you what, now we understand why the Latvians are so strong. This stuff here is something serious.
It's powerful, yeah.
Yeah. So any Latvians watching, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. But Gunther's delivered this to us a little bit earlier and wanted us to have it on.
He put it, and then he sort of snuck away, didn't he? He was like,
and
you have that.
like he left a bomb behind or something like that. Maybe a little bit. But
a little one, and then I got to go. I
got to go.
But you drink it. You enjoy it.
You have fun. Gunther's been such a great champion, taking out Mario Tambakis at AWE 1 in a fantastic performance, and for Gunther's, that was really his return to competition after somewhat of a hiatus, and he'd been excited at the prospect of taking on Mario some months earlier at another event that was being held, and Mario wasn't able to make it, and so he missed that opportunity, and so had been preparing for some time, and a little bit too much for Mario on the day. Gunther's taking out our first AWE heavyweight championship, and on that fateful day in February the 25th, 2023 at AWE 1, Lachlan walked away with a loss and against Marcus Itirai. And so this was really Marcus Itirai's coming out party as an elite athlete, and that gave Marcus that title shot against Gunther's. And Lachlan's performance was so dominant, and his preparation has been so disciplined over recent months since he made that kind of that declaration that I'm going to be the heavyweight champion, and I'm going to throw absolutely everything at making sure that belt becomes mine. And we've seen that in Lachlan in terms of his dedication in training. We've seen it in table time. We've seen it in his social media, and after his performance against Doug, where he really did. It was quite a dominant performance. It was hard to argue against providing Lachlan with that opportunity. And so, as you say, Lachlan's wishes granted. He has his opportunity against the great Latvian on October the 22nd.
That's right. That'll be a very interesting match, because I think in AWE 1, it looked like Lachlan might have sort of gassed himself out against Marcus when Marcus was sitting in that King's move, because it looked like Lachlan felt very confident in that position, and he drove forward. He said something, I don't know, yeah, big boy or something like that, but he didn't he wasn't able to get through. He wasn't able to get to the pin, and then he sort of sat in that position using a lot of energy for maybe 8 or 9 seconds before
Really
Marcus,
redlined. And
yeah, that's right. And then Marcus was able to do what he does and brought it back up and got the pin, which I think really sort of surprised Lachlan, or maybe at that point he had used everything he had, and it was like the first or second round into the match. So yeah, there could be an interesting battle as a rematch, but make no mistake on Lachlan Carpenter. He is phenomenally strong, and he is motivated to get that belt against Gunther Bykov.
yeah.
So, and our next match that we've got the South African sensation Rickard Bornman. He will be taking on Bowen Contrado, who is the Axeman from, I think he's from New South Wales, I believe. I think so. Yeah. I'm going to say that.
National Axe champion.
Yes.
So a big name in that sport, and now making a big name for himself in the world of arm wrestling. So making his AWE debut against Rickard Bornman, who really, with very little experience, surprised everybody on the practice tables in Brisbane, and has and emerged at AWE too as a serious contender against Mario. I think surprised Mario. Mario got away with the win on that occasion, but Bornman really signaled to the rest of the world that he is here. Sorry,
was that the signal?
That was the signal. That he's here to stay in the world of arm wrestling, and he's going to continue to impress and develop over time. And a lot of people aren't quite aware that Rickard's only 20 years old.
Yeah.
6'4", 123 kilos. Always been jacked. So please check out Rickard's interview with Ryan Bowen on his channel. You'd have to go back to just before AWE2, but a fantastic introduction to that fine young athlete. Big match.
Oh, it's going to be massive. Yeah, Bowen Contrado is one of the up-and-coming stars in the arm wrestling world.
And how strong do your hands and wrist have to be if you're going to be a national axe champion? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yes, and he's phenomenal to watch on the table. Very, very exciting. He's explosive. He's entertaining. He's charismatic, and he's going against the South African sensation Rickard Bornman, who is going to be a phenomenal match. I mean, Rickard having this enormous strength, and then obviously he's going to be learning the foundations of technique even further since AWE2 when he had his appearance against Mario Tumbakas. We were watching that yesterday, I believe, and in that first round when it was a slip and Rickard's arm just didn't move and Mario's head just slipped away. So I think incredible. So with more technique and more setup knowledge and more ability to apply his strength, Rickard Bornman could be a mega star of the future, but he has to get past the up-and-coming rising superstar that is Bowen Contrado.
And free agent for now, Aussie arm wrestler. He's free agent for a little bit longer.
So that contract comes out.
Oh, mate,
you can announce wherever you like, just as long as it's not AWE.
Yeah, King of the Table is versus West. We'll have you. Maybe you can go to Arm Wars. Be interesting to see whether or not you could go to Arm Gods. I don't know. So I mean, it does put somebody in Jake's position in a bit of an awkward spot, doesn't it? Because I mean, Jake's with friends across promotions. He's one of these people that he's friends with us. He's friends with Engen, friendly again with Engen, I'd say, and of course the team at King of the Table, but also a lot of the smaller promotions that have emerged over recent times have called upon Jake, and so he's in this really unique position where he's developed some of these great relationships with people right across the board, and it'd be interesting to see what kind of payday would be required to get Jake Ward's exclusivity.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we made you a really good offer publicly, like say
three back rubs,
$3 million over the next 15 minutes. If we made you a really good deal like that, do you reckon Ingham would offer you a bit more?
Well, we could try.
Let's go with $1 million over 3 years, and
he deserves it.
We can't back that off for Ruff, of course, Jake. But you can let Engen know. I mean, we know he's not watching, so yeah. Yeah, be very interesting. But interesting also that you hashtag free agent for now.
I'd say he's waiting on a contract, I would say.
He's waiting by the facsimile.
That's right.
Just waiting for the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's an ad. You're like, damn it. All right. So we haven't finished the card. There is
Is that a Jake Wood exclusive here on the AWE podcast?
I'd say so.
But he's in
Let's make it that.
negotiations.
He's negotiations.
Jake
Ward even. They're not
in
even coming after the athletes. They're
negotiation.
coming after the presenters. They're
Yeah.
coming after the commentators.
So Jake Wood's he got the email.
Maybe.
Well,
Well, according to that, and according to
For
the
now.
stuff we're making up right now,
if we continue to make up baseless
we can make up anything we like, really.
$1 million, Jake, that's the offer. $1 million from AWE.
That's it.
Let's see if your friends over there at King of the Table can match that.
Mm,
Get onto it, Matt.
that's right.
Get
Well,
onto it. Get onto it, mate.
so with the card, we still have one more match, which
Oh,
we're
there's
trying.
a question mark.
Yeah, we've almost got to find out. We're just waiting to hear back, but that's the majority. That's 8 out of the 10 matches that will be taking place. The 9th match that will be taking place will be the tournament finalists. So on the day before AWE 3, we will have a tournament which anybody can enter. It is an open weight tournament, right hand only. The grand finals will take place the next day as the first match on AWE 3 as a super match, first to 4. So if you are interested in pulling on AWE and you think you've got what it takes and you want to show the world that this is your moment, here is your opportunity. Work your way through the ranks of the tournament. And then if you make it to the grand final, you will be on AWE 3 as the opening match.
This is our search for a superstar, a new arm wrestling. Is there another Rick Borman out there that we haven't heard of yet? Who's going to come out of the ether? Maybe it's somebody who's just leveled up, who's been out there for a little while. Maybe Danny Tesh is listening right now, and
He's always listening.
and he's really you get that feeling too, like
Just
he feels it. He feels it.
That's right.
It's not that he hears the words, but he gets the vibe.
Yeah.
And comes out and who knows, Brett Coots. There's a lot of big names that are out there that could just pop in and try and walk away with the prize, which of course is to be on that main card at AWE 3. So that's October 21st, 22nd. So the tournament's on the 21st on the Saturday. And on the Sunday, that's when you'll be pulling, but you'll be pulling against somebody else who's tired and possibly injured as well. So it's all even in the super match if you happen to be one of the finalists.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's open weight.
Open weight.
Yeah.
So
So you make it there. If you're good enough to make it to the final, then the tournament ends the Saturday night. The grand final will take place on the pay-per-view card.
You'll have a rest. Come
right.
back the next day.
Have a nice 12-hour rest.
Yeah. Some ice baths. And,
That's right. That's right. Aussie Arm Wrestler says, also, will we ever see a fired-up Dave Stockbridge on the show?
I'm about as fired up as I get.
He's relaxing at the moment because he's having the Latvian love juice that was brought in by heavyweight champion Guntis Baikovs, and incredibly powerful stuff. I don't know how many you've had, but I had one sip and it blew my hair back.
I do want to thank Andrew and the team at Bunsters Hot Sauce. That's the #1 selling hot sauce on Amazon.
Is it?
It is.
Really?
It is. You can head over there.
It's amazing.
It is. So it's 12 out of 10. So if some of those more traditional hot sauces aren't really doing it for you these days, and you need to step up your hot sauce game, well, of course, Bunsters Hot Sauce, you can buy it #1 on Amazon.
Phil Woody says, Dave, if East versus West happened to ask AWE to organise a qualifier next year, could we make this work?
Are you asking on behalf of Engen?
Is Phil Woody actually Engen?
Is this correct?
I think it may be.
No, I don't. I don't think that's the. I don't think so. Let's think of this just really plainly, Phil, for a moment, as business people. So, is Engen somebody that we would want to do business with, knowing what we know now, and would we want to put athletes into that environment potentially, knowing what we know now? So I guess there's a couple of things, and that's putting aside maybe, some of the putting under the bridge some of that water of the last couple of weeks. But let's just look at it objectively and say, if you really cared about your athletes, would you want to be steering them in that direction? So yeah.
Mm.
It's one way of thinking about it,
That's
isn't it?
correct. Absolutely. We've got
Mm.
Ryan Blue Bowen who's jumped in here. He says, when does Matt
Is this
Connolly
him?
make his debut?
Oh.
Well, we'd have to find somebody who's really not good for me to match up with. All of the guys on the card that we've had so far would flatten me in an instant. So if we want to waste one of the spots by putting me against somebody else who's not great, but yeah, I mean, hey, if somebody gets injured and then walking into the cage and they say we need somebody to step up,
Yeah.
I guess I could do
Yeah,
it.
fine.
That's right. I go, that guy.
This is the moment I've been waiting for.
That's right. It's the
what-
moment we feared, people.
Who? Me?
Me? Oh, but I'm just a commentator.
You do it.
I could do
The
it.
show depends on you. But you have to commentate as well.
That's right. And it's against Matt Waringi.
Because Jake's now exclusive with King at the Table. You got to do both jobs.
That's
All
right.
right. We got Engen on camera.
That's fine.
Let me
All
just put this in corner.
Hang on. I need some lights. I need 2 lights.
Close.
Sergey, get me 2 lights. Aussie Arm Wrestle says I can go wherever I want and
Yeah.
nobody's gonna stop me.
Because you're free to do what you. So well, you can until you're exclusive. Which you are for now.
Yeah, well, he
That's
says sold about your $1 million offer.
Oh yeah, well I think that's a tentative offer,
Oh,
and
had it already expired.
we're
before
just
we-
we're just putting feelers.
oh,
out.
we're just saying it.
Yeah.
As-
Well, no, that was so that you can go back to core sports
Ah,
and
yes.
say
You can't
hey,
accept it. You've got to
yeah,
say it's
you-
on the table.
you just got to say like, okay, like a million's nice, and you know, I don't have to go stinky old Istanbul or anything, or spend hours on a plane. That's all nice, but yeah, I'll take 1.5.
Yeah,
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 of course, they got tons of money.
yeah. Heaps. They're
that's
throwing
right.
it away.
Yeah.
It's like fun tickets for them, fun coupons.
Yeah. So, and I love Jake's comment the other day that he does not feel that he's worth a cent more than Devon.
He doesn't feel he's worth a cent more,
More
than Devon.
than Devon.
Not more.
Not more
Okay.
than Devon.
Okay.
So whatever Devon's getting, that's what Jake should be getting.
Yeah,
I think,
that's fair.
I think that's what's implied. And I
Oh,
think
that's
that's
fair.
what core sports need to know. So,
Right.
yeah.
It is important.
I think that was Jake's way of negotiating.
That's
Let's
good.
Just put it
I
out
like
there.
it.
I shouldn't-
Just
I
give me
shouldn't
the
take
same
all-
contract as
Just
Devon.
give me the same amount as the highest paid athlete.
Yeah,
in
that
the
would do.
sport.
Let's just make it easy for you guys.
Yeah,
You've already
because
done
you've
the
already
contract.
got the number.
Just change the name.
Yeah, it's like he's saving them legal
It
fees.
is.
So
It's really considerate.
I think he's a master negotiator,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Genius.
Yeah.
Johan Stoltz says Rickard will be at Queensland States this weekend preparing for AWE 3. Please,
Oh, get
please
prepared.
don't injure yourself, Rickard.
So
Don't injure yourself. That's all I will
Rickard
say.
is uninjurable.
You can't curse him like that.
No.
Someone will clip this. You can't injure him, and then him getting injured.
If that does happen, I'm really sorry, Rickard. I take full responsibility, but yeah, wishing you all the very best up there at the Queenslands. Mate, just do us a favour, just enter the junior category. It's fun.
Jake
We need
says,
Sam
oh,
Bennett.
sorry, I missed that
Oh,
one.
no, no.
Yummy says, we need Sam Bennett and Jordan Davis in AWE. I think Jordan had taken a break for quite a while and he started training again now.
He started training again. I think he's got an Arm Wars commitment, perhaps.
Does he?
Or something. If that's wrong, I do apologise. But I think he's training towards coming back.
Yeah.
And he's got his eye on a prize, and he's got a match up that I don't know if that's all been solidified or whatever, but I believe it's with an overseas promotion. So he's
Okay.
kind of locked in and committed and training towards that. I believe. I could be completely wrong, but let's just say it's rumors. Maybe somebody out there smarter than me.
I do
deny.
I do remember
Like Jordan.
somebody saying that he is training again. So
He's back.
yeah, but he did take a significant break. So that's why we
Yeah, that's
having-
why he hasn't been on so far. And Sam's had the invitation on a couple of occasions and the opportunity, and has rebuffed us much in the style of Engen.
with the camera. How did he set the camera up? I don't know. Just do it.
Yeah.
I need lights. 2 lights.
Somebody Get out of here.
You're distracting me. I don't like you. I don't like your face. You're out of this. You're out of the town.
You're an enemy.
You'll never look in this town again.
You're enemy of this camera. You're enemy of arm wrestling. You get out.
You have done more damage than anyone else to arm wrestling.
Ryan, we need to get Matt over the 1,000 sub level at least. Yes, we do. That's a big goal here at AW. It's not the big goal, but it's a goal
the
here.
biggest goal.
It may be our singular focus. And
this whole thing.
Why we got blindsided by the whole contracts thing is because we're focused on getting that 1,000
That's
subs
right.
for Matt.
Exactly. Yeah.
It'll happen.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're at 685, I think, at the moment.
685. It's a good
Yeah.
number.
It's getting there.
It's better than 6. It was stuck on 666.
Oh
for a
man, it
little while,
was. It was
wasn't
666 for ages.
Ugh.
What's going on
It's a
here?
bit nervy. I would have just got somebody. I would have paid somebody to sub. What do we got? Hey Foxy, just a casual
Fox.
chat between mates.
Fox 8 Ball is in
Fox
the chat.
8 Ball.
He's made his appearance.
He's back.
Why is
Why is
that
it-
shit the bed hot sauce listed as 12 out of hot, mate? Yes, well,
Well-
that was in the Drew's package that he received. Have you tried it yet, Drew?
Drew.
Be interested to find out.
And apparently, it's the US market as to why this is the number one on Amazon right now. So it's got
That's incredible. That's a big selling point.
so it's huge. Yeah,
It's
I had to
massive.
double check my facts before I opened my mouth.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there you go. Shit the bed. Get
Uh,
on with it.
Fox April says Salicious B. Crumb talking. Okay. The Drew, Matt, that guy, Connolly. Yes, I'm that guy that's going to step in the last minute in case anybody does get injured. I will step up and
You will be
jump on the
ready.
table and get destroyed. You're like, oh, this is your moment. You just get
The
flattened.
moment you've been waiting for. Be embarrassed in front of millions.
That's right. You're up against Matt Waringi. Oh, God. Yeah, okay. Can I use two hands? I still lose.
It'd have to be a handicap event.
Hermes will run a rat over. Okay. And Fox has tried to get us to say a certain funny thing here, but we're not going to fall for that. And Jordan says he was prepping for nationals on Jake's Coleman show. Oh, there you go. So nationals.
Oh, see. Oh, okay. Good. Awesome. Yeah.
Hmm,
I hope
yeah.
he comes back good and strong.
Yeah. So should we run through the card again just one more time?
One more time. Let's so right at the top of the card, we've got Lachlan Adair versus Derek Smith making his way all the way from the United States. Derek, big contender. The winner of this will go on to be our Intercontinental Champion and face Dave Chafee at AWE 4. Then we've got Ryan Bowen versus Mazahir Saidu. So we've got the King of India, who is about to be crowned this weekend, highly favored in his heavyweight Indian matchup in the Pro Punja League this weekend. So if you want to know what Mazahir's form is coming into AWE 3 and you're not completely familiar, jump on to Pro Punja's socials. Their Instagram is on fire. And do what you can. I don't know how you're going to watch it on Sony TV, but maybe you've got a friend in India and you can just quickly download it and send it over to you. But check that one out. And Mazahir Saidu, he won't want to lose to an Australian. He's here to really prove a point. And he's got Pradeep support. He's calling it 4-0 already.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
So
And
is
we're
Ryan
calling-
delusional or is he?
Well, we're calling it the other way 4-0.
Yeah. So I think. Let's call an armistice there, somewhere in the middle.
Maybe I could
Is it
arm wrestle
maybe?
Pradeep.
And that'll be the final. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I was thinking Jake Ward versus Pradeep.
Oh, yeah,
at
that'd
this
be good
stage.
too.
That would be a good matchup.
Yeah,
So Josh Barker and Raul Panica. Oh,
That's amazing.
it's going to be
It's going to be so cool.
battle of the 70-kilo champs.
Yes.
We've essentially got the best of the subcontinent against the best of Oceania, and we're putting them in a cage and across the table from each other. And we're going to get that answer to the question of who on this side of the planet is number one at 70 kilos.
Yeah.
Amazing. A
Wow.
huge matchup. Raul Panica, huge following,
Hmm.
big name in India.
Mhm.
Good looking young guy.
Mhm.
Has a physique like Jamie Barrett. So
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever happens, there will be guest posing later on between
right.
those two. This is going to be absolutely huge. Josh Barker has proven himself in the AWE cage on 2 occasions already, coming up short in his last matchup. But that was merely days after surgery, competing against a much larger athlete as well.
Mhm.
So some context there if you do watch back to AWE2 and want to do your Josh Barker homework. But again, Josh Barker, AWE1 against a much larger athlete. Again, finding somebody who's a similar weight to Josh has proven to be really difficult, and we've had to look overseas for that opportunity for Josh. And Raul Panica on his way, I think was on it? Giannis. It might have been Giannis versus Josh at AWE2 originally. That was the matchup, wasn't it?
I think that yes, it was. Yeah, that's
So-
correct. But he had to go and film a documentary.
Yeah, the documentary.
Yeah, that one.
That
the comedy.
Yeah, it's coming out in Netflix.
In theaters soon.
It'll be the number 1 on Amazon. It's going to be it's an interesting story.
I can't wait.
I'm in anticipation.
I'm very excited.
So Josh Barker was meant to be up against Giannis, and to Josh's credit, he did a lot of work in the background, laying the groundwork for that particular matchup. Only to be disappointed at the end, and to not have that opportunity. And Giannis is somebody that Josh really admires and has followed since he started arm wrestling, and was really looking forward to catching up with him, learning more from him, but more importantly, competing against him and finding out where his level is against somebody of Giannis's caliber and stature. And so it was unfortunate that the camera crew
couldn't postpone or reschedule.
That they'd forgotten about it or
That's
something.
right,
I think it was planning. There was something. Anyway,
they double booked themselves.
Yes.
Yes, but well, our next matchup, Matt Orengi had a Morris versus Marcus Atirai.
Coach Ray was going to commentate at AWE2 as well.
Was he?
Yeah, one of his videos he made mention that he was being invited.
Well, Giannis was going to be competing at AWE, and then he was going to be doing some seminars as well, which I think there was going to be several seminars around Australia that he was going to be putting on. Obviously, the documentary got in the way of that.
Yeah.
Tends to do that. Those
Yeah.
bloody documentaries.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a BBC.
It probably was.
Yeah,
of that caliber.
The Latvian version. And Matt Orengi had a Morris. So that's your next matchup against Marcus Itirai, the Tahitian Wrecking Ball. So this is a real battle of the Islanders here. We've got 2 of the biggest athletes that are going to enter a cage against each other, possibly this year. 771 pounds of human being coming together across the table. Then we've got Taron Broad, the giant killer, against Adam Laura, the man that he earned that moniker from just a few short months ago, when at 85 kilos he took on the super heavyweight and beat him in a hook match and cemented his name as one of the top dozen or so in the country, regardless of weight class. And Taron's come back to prove it to us all that indeed it wasn't a fluke. And Adam's here to demonstrate that maybe with a bit of preparation and maybe with a little bit of time, he's got the young man's measure. Jamie Barrett versus SK, the South Korean superstar who's now found his way to a nice lifestyle in Brisbane, and has been preparing with the guys up there, and will be making his way to Adelaide to compete against Jamie, who has come off a successful tour of the US and continues to prove himself on the tables here. And from what I understand, there was a little bit of a war between these 2 young men recently in the back of the training rooms, and it was enough to inspire us to bring them together at AWE 3 and to sort that little discussion out and to see who is next in line. And Gunters Bykovs versus Lachlan Carpenter. Big matchup.
Heavyweight title on the line. Gunters Bykovs being challenged by the up-and-coming rising star Lachlan Carpenter, who is he's fired up. He's ready to go. He won the national titles here in Australia last year, and has been on a tear since then, looking bigger and better every time he appears on the arm wrestling table. And he has very committed approach and very beeline, laser sharp focus on Gunter's Baikovs and that heavyweight title.
He's really been doing his homework, and I don't know if the other athletes, maybe because Gunter's hasn't been active over recent times, and so there's not a lot of footage, to pick up. But now with the benefit of AWE 1 and 2, these younger guys have now got plenty in front of them to learn from and to and some things to apply. So it'd be interesting to see how the younger players adapt now that they know Gunter's game and how they prepare themselves for that. And Lachlan, we know, has been zeroing in on this for months now. So we'll see how well Lachlan's done his homework, and we know how hard he's been training, but how hard has he been doing his homework?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah. And we've also got Rickard Borman from South Africa, who is training in Brisbane at the moment with the Kingpins up there.
Always been jacked.
He's always been jacked, 120 kilos at 20 years old and 6'4" or 5". He's an enormous young man and incredibly strong. He did very well against Mario Sambakas at AWE 2, and he will be taking on the Axeman, Bowen Contrado, who is a rising superstar in the AW world here in Australia. And I'm excited actually for Bowen to get this opportunity to showcase his skills. He is one of the top pullers in the country, and it'll be a very, very exciting match because it feels that this is I'm very happy with this matchmaking side of it because yeah, I am actually, because I'm very excited to see the match.
The matchmakers.
Yeah, that's right. If only we knew who they were. But for Rickard Borman to, obviously he's fairly new to the sport still, incredibly strong, and did a phenomenal job against somebody of Mario's caliber, and then to go against Bowen, who has really been around for quite a longer time than Rickard has, and it feels like this would be his moment to really present himself to the world and say, hey, I am here and I'm a superstar as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we look at the nationalities competing, so we've got Australia versus US, Australia versus India, New Zealand versus Tahiti. We've got Australia v Australia matchup, and then Latvia versus Australia. We've got Australia versus Korea, and of course South Africa versus Australia. So for those people that it's an Australian base, it's a regional thing, yeah, to some extent, but it definitely has an international flavour, and we're very fortunate to have some very high caliber international athletes now calling Australia home. But we also have some great talent that's finding its way over here to compete. And we hope that regardless of what might happen with these contract negotiations, that will continue.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's a big time for arm wrestling, and the AWE is looking forward to putting on the best possible matches that we can. We've got the Woodsman here who says he loves the AEW, but I think he meant to say AWE.
AEW is the wrestling, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like WWE, but it's AEW. It's in America. It's a big deal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you got to get a lot of the old WWE guys find their way there.
Yeah. And some of their fans that come into our chat as well.
I'm happy to take it. That's pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's going to be big. So the dates, so October 21st here in Adelaide, Australia, which is a Saturday, we will be having a AWE tournament, which will be running at the day before the event. And the tournament is open weight. Anybody can enter. And the grand finalists of that tournament will be featured as the opening match on AWE 3, which will be Sunday, October 22nd here in Adelaide.
And riddle me this: how does Last Man Standing work? Where will that fit into the whole schedule of events?
That's right. Well, it's one of my absolute favorite things in arm wrestling is the Last Man Standing event. And what that means is it is essentially a 1 hour King of the Table or winner stays on.
Can't say King of the Hang on, don't copyright strike. It's just a term used to describe a particular format. You didn't invent it. All right.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, that's why we call it Last Man Standing.
That is, but it is Last Man Standing. So
it's Last Man Standing.
Yes, Last Man.
It's like King of.
It's sort of. Yeah, so it's a 1 hour event, and so winner stays on, and whoever is in the king position or the winner's position on the 60-minute mark will win, and they are classed as the victor. I'm not sure exactly what we're we've allocated as the prize yet,
Yeah,
but there
$1
will be a
million.
prize. And there also is a prize for the person who stays in the winner's position for the longest amount of time throughout that 60 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very fast paced. It is essentially you're walking up to the table, grabbing hands, go, grabbing hands, go. If there's a foul, that's a loss, instantly go out. It's designed.
Slip in a losing position, gone, you're out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Give the referee a dirty look, you're out.
Bang.
Yeah. Straight to jail.
Engen's the ref.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so it's a very quick. It's like your hands together. The referees are like, okay, hands go. Like it doesn't matter if you got a good grip or bad grip. It's your own fault.
You're going.
And so it's cycling in and out. Next
It's like
person,
the
next
bus.
person, next
If you
person.
miss it,
Exactly.
it's on you.
That's right. And so if athletes slip, then I stop the clock and they apply the strap. And then as soon as the match starts, I start the clock again. So
Yeah.
there's no advantage gained by stalling. You
Mm.
can't sit there and be like constantly slipping and taking ages to set up or anything like that to extend your time.
And can anybody compete? Can
Anybody
anybody
can-
just turn up? And
Anybody can compete and anybody can actually win as well.
this is the amazing thing,
That's
isn't it?
what's so cool about it. Yeah.
So there might be somebody who's just a big gorilla. He happens to be on the table most of the time, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the only winner. You could just happen to be the guy that wins at the end.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So say you get somebody like, let's say Lachlan Adair jumped in and said, "No, I want to do it."
Mm.
And it's like, okay, he's going to beat all of us over and over and over, but he will get tired.
About 38-minute mark. I
Yeah,
reckon I
he
can-
will
I
eventually.
can take him.
You will
At
take him.
38 minutes.
You just wait and then hang on.
Yeah.
All right. But eventually you will get tired, and then you might beat somebody like that you would never have beaten before. And it's like, oh, and it just happened to be right in that last minute or two. You managed to hold on and beat the next person, and now you're the winner.
Mm.
So yeah, it's an
So
exciting event.
anybody can compete,
That's right.
even Ingen.
If he wants to,
If he wants to,
if he's good enough,
you would let him.
if he wanted to, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you're a nice guy.
I am.
You've got the best interest of arm wrestling.
That's right. That's
here,
right.
here.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I'll sign him to an exclusive contract.
So
That's the entry form, England. Just sign that.
just on,
Aha! We now own
I-
Own versus West.
I was taken advantage of.
So the camera.
Um, so let's go Mazahir and Rahul. There's a little bit of support from the subcontinent there coming from Arshaj there. So sorry, Anshaj.
And so yeah.
I'm just going to, if I've got that name wrong, it's through no disrespect. It's just that combination of letters doesn't want to come out of my mouth correctly. So Anshaj, let's go Mazahir. A lot of support. How big is arm wrestling in India right now, Anshaj?
Yeah.
It's I couldn't believe the numbers coming out of the Punjab Pro League, Pro Punjab leagues. Just absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's incredible. They're the number one by like it's like India, and then
everybody else.
number two is down there.
Yeah, yeah. And production values. So and let us know if you tuned into to Sony TV and caught any of the Pro Punja League's action over the last weekend or so as they've been going through their whole process of working out who's going to be in the finals.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's exciting. Check out Pro Punja League in India. They are incredible league over there doing amazing things for arm wrestling.
Okay, the Drew's got more to say on the whole contracts.
I'm just trying to find where I am here.
I think you're right.
This one here?
Was it?
That one? That one. This one. We'll go with this one. Swisher Sweet says, if you do one of these last men standing at AWE 4, I might flirt with the idea of actually doing some training. Yes. Well,
you've got plenty of time to prepare. This is October 21st, so so still plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. That's
Swish
right.
the sweet. You get onto it, mate.
Yes, that's right. And it's a lot of fun. And you don't have to be the best in the room.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, it's one of those things. Like if you kind of acknowledge, like say Matt and I, that you're probably not the strongest men in the room, you can still win by fluke.
Yeah,
and you know we're going to announce some prizes and the like, but you can still win by fluke, and it will certainly make it worth your while. So stay tuned for more announcements on Last Man Standing and prizes. More will be revealed.
The Drew says he's not into tribalism. where if you are not with me, then you're against me.
me.
I'm okay with not agreeing with Engen and still support East versus West at the same time. I could do both at the same time. Absolutely, you can, Drew. Good.
You're allowed to. That's
You're allowed,
all fine.
yeah.
Some people, though, they've kind of drawn a line in the sand, haven't they? They've kind of said, if that's the character and the integrity of the man, then I want nothing to do with that. And same, with on Ryan's side, you get the occasional comment, I'm cutting you off, I'm unsubbing because of this or whatever. And people get very, very passionate. But it's good to see, Drew. I think you've got the sport's best interests at heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fox 8 Ball says, AWE is so good it makes. I'm not going to say that. Thank you very much for your comment. Fox 8 Ball.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
When we set out on this AWE journey, that was one of those things that we really wanted to achieve. If you were getting those feelings downstairs,
We should charge for that.
yes, then that's exactly what we wanted.
Exactly, that's right. The Drew. I think there's some arguing going back and
I don't
forth, some
think Donny-
debates going on in the chat there.
Drew Eastwood, he's a cool guy. I like him. Drew likes him. But if he says something, I think others feel obligated to do what he says sometimes is possible. Is that possible? I think if you're the money man, if you're the guy that's handing out the cash, everyone's going to be wondering what it is your opinion might be. And there's going to be far less people that will want to upset you than if you were a bum.
Yeah.
So let's just put it that way. So there's definitely some high degree of influence there. I think you're right. I think you're right on that front.
Absolutely. Well, should we start wrapping up, you reckon?
Do you want to?
Oh, I mean, I'm happy to keep going. I just thought
let's just review where we're at. So we've got AWE 3 announcements are out there now. So we've got Last Man Standing. People understand what all of that's about. So this is if you can make your way to Adelaide on the 21st and 22nd of October, then we've got a tournament. We've got the tournament. So with the prize being a spot on the AWE 3 card.
Yep.
So that's very exciting. And then, of course, we've got AWE 3 and we've just released the card.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's been quite an eventful podcast, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
We've got plenty of information out there. We're really appreciative of all the recent attention that we've received as a result of this controversy, although it's always nice to get, attention for different reasons. But I feel like the tide's turned and most of the people are kind of on our side with this. So it feels like to me, maybe that's because I'm deleting the comments of everybody who disagrees. But I feel like we've really enjoyed the support of so many in the arm wrestling community. It's not just in the comments with the live streams and like, but those messages of support that we've received as well. So we want to thank all of you for the tremendous support during what has been a bit of a tumultuous and troubling time in some respects, but it's also shown us the absolute best in others as well. So
I think it's been fun, actually.
it's been an interesting week, hasn't it? Yeah. So it's all been brewing for us. I think it seems to really kicked up in the last week or so for the rest of the world, but we've kind of behind the scenes been dealing with this for a few weeks now, and it's of some relief in some.
Dare you kick my foot? Is that the signal?
I will compensate you, sir.
Is that the bat signal?
It's been great, and thank you for your well wishes, and we just hope to continue to execute on awesome events that you guys love. That's really where it's at for us. Putting events on that we're proud of, that we hope you will love, and tell your friends about. Now, we have maybe amongst all of these announcements, an even bigger announcement coming in the next few days. So we've been whittling away in the background on the AWE website. So AWE Arm Wrestling website. So awearmwrestling.com will be our home. It'll also be the home of the live stream. So we've had our friends there in the background tweaking away, making sure that this all comes together seamlessly. And you're also going to see that'll be where you can secure some early bird specials.
Yeah, that's true.
Pay-per-view.
Well,
so to be announced. So stay tuned. Fox 8 Ball got banned from Engen's channel for asking questions about an athlete's play.
Was it asking why Lachlan Adair is 113 kilos and not 140?
Yeah, he's got the weight wrong.
He's got it wrong. It's listed wrong.
Yeah.
Everyone else just keeps getting it wrong.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. So, Hollywood Matt Connolly, just finally, Phil Woody, he's here. Matt, don't be such a lightweight. Jake's live span entire days. Keep up the great work, chaps, and hoping AWE growth and opportunities continue to prosper. Here supporting Rock On Monetization. Indeed, we got to be, well, we're there with the subs now, so thank you very much for that. We're waiting to catch up on the view hours, being such a new channel. It's only a month or so old. We've got a little bit, I think it's 4,000 watch hours. So we've only done like 3 videos. So we're whittling away at that one as well. So we're looking forward to that milestone moment, and we will gladly celebrate that with you as soon as we get wind from our friends at YouTube that's all happened. But thank you very much for your support. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Of course, the more you comment, well, the more the algorithm knows that you love it, and people just like you might love it just as much. So we start getting recommended, and that's how we get growth here. It's also this recent attention, as I mentioned before, has led to our socials blowing up. Our numbers, like you might have a look in, it might be, I think, 800 or 900 people on the Instagram page, but now we're hitting close to 100,000 people who are being reached by the posts on that page. So it's just been absolutely tremendous. I mean, there's a couple of videos on there I think have reached over 35,000 people just in the last several days, and so huge growth in our social media numbers. We've appreciated all of your support in the comments on all the videos that relate to the topic. We want to thank those commentators and those people lending analysis and thought to the subject matter and chiming in with their 2 cents. All of those people that are doing that with their videos and the like are, I think, are bringing the conversation out in the open. And we definitely don't have any fear or hesitation about getting this conversation on the table so everybody can see it for what it's worth. I guess what irks us to some degree is when things are being portrayed incorrectly, people's motives are being portrayed incorrectly, or not in the way that perhaps have been represented to us in their behaviors. So we've been very appreciative that the arm wrestling community is called bullshit on certain things, and that's certainly led to, I think, some adjustments and changes at the other end, as well as people realize that it's people like you that are buying the pay-per-view. It's people like you that matter, and if it's people like you that are getting their comments deleted and being blocked from accounts and who are being disengaged with, just imagine if you happen to disagree with this guy and you're in contract with him for 3 years and your whole career depended on what that guy thought of you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an athlete, they're my final thoughts. They're my final words on that subject for today's podcast. So if you are an athlete out there, just wonder for a second, if a man whose temperament and whose ego is so fragile that if there's a countering opinion that he doesn't like in the comments and he's deleting them systematically and deleting videos,
copyright
striking people who previously would have had no problems with. If that's the guy that you're going into business with and you're putting all of your eggs in that basket without due consideration to either the existing options on the table or potential and possibility of what might be on the arm wrestling horizon, if you're not keeping all of that in mind as you're making your judgment about where you put your pen next, then I would say that you're not making an educated, informed, or maybe even well-considered judgment. So my final words on the subject, yours, Hollywood Matt Connolly.
Yeah, I think you wrapped it up very nicely there. We remind everyone once again that the AWE Arm Wrestling website will be up and running. By the end of this week, it will be up and running. We've just put in those last little touches together, and October the 21st and 22nd will be the weekend of AWE events, and of course culminating with AWE 3, which headlining match will be headlining act. I just automatically said that. But Lachlan Adair is going to be playing guitar. Lachlan Adair and Derek Smith will be taking on each other in a 1-to-4 match at AWE 3 here in Adelaide. So we will look forward very much to seeing people come along to the event in person if they are able to. And if they are not, then please feel free to buy the pay-per-view and support arm wrestling in the Oceanic region and AWE as a whole.
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it. Your pay-per-view buy coming up is going to make a big difference. We hope to sell a stack. Stay tuned for all of those announcements on where you can get that pay-per-view. Ticketing will open up very, very soon. So if you want to be at the event in person, if you'd like a VIP experience, we have all of that being revealed and on offer very, very soon. And just finally, Barbell Foods. Barbell Foods are fantastic supporters of the AWE. And if you hit the code word arm wrestle, then you will get 10% off every purchase of Barbell Foods. High in protein, biltong. It's not like jerky, which is dried in an oven. It's air dried, so keeping that yummy moisture in there, and a fantastic snack after gym, or maybe a pre-workout. I'll leave it up to you. But Barbell Foods, 10% off when you enter the code word wrestle. Of course, our friends at Bunsters Hot Sauce, #1 on Amazon. Get onto it. Roll Clean soaps. Here we go. You shouldn't eat them, but they look delicious.
And taste delicious.
Taste delicious. We can't say that. There's regulatory bodies
Is
that
it?
prohibit us suggesting consumption is recommended.
Oh.
And so we will step back from that bold statement. Do not eat this. This is Roll Clean soap. So this is designed for combat sports athletes that need to get close to the competitors, so grapplers, BJJ guys and girls, and it was actually invented by a local BJJ couple.
Yeah.
So Matt and Kat's seen the problems in her gym and looked to come about a solution. So rollclean.com.au, that's where you go. Order that stuff up. We want to thank all of our friends, all of our supporters, all of our sponsors. We want to thank you in the chat and everybody that's just watching voyeuristically, not commenting, just lurking there in the background in the shadows. We love you too, and we look forward to bringing you more AWE action next time.
All right.